my friends. How are we doing? It's Brekky In The Cave. What a show we've got on the way. Oh, my word.
Yo. Everyone cutting man start every day, new youth with a millions flow.
Gonna kick off with this one from Millions.
On the M-way, had my lighty bringing in
going by the name of Billions.
Wanna see millions? No, whoa, you best get my brothers involved.
Are you mad?
By 2021.
Keep it locked, it's Brekky In The Cave, yeah?
Bro, billions, bro. Interview room with this legal aid and they're really trying to ask what happened. No comment. First of all, fill this tables box if you saw listening to when man's chatting. But before my the scales went bagging. Airing my gal, no, she's at home. I didn't been up for so long that I ain't even knackered. Switched up the spot fish, trying to clock patterns. Can't believe what my soldier's telling me. Lost a G-pack, how does that make sense? Told him best to trace his steps unless you really want to get paid in pence. Now I'm more than a baller down like when man you sold David Becks. Straight half of sixes when man's established, but right now it's just...
Out to man like Ryan Gallus joining us nice and early.
But I'll chip in for the growing equipment. I hope the drivers don't get back.
I'm buzzing for today's show, you know.
My guy said
out to my early morning locked in crew, of course. Throw a like on the video. All that good stuff. Get some comments in the chat. Let's get some population rolling. Some interaction and all that good stuff. Let's get this video popping. Hit that subscribe button as well. We're nearly at 650. Nearly at 600 4 days ago.
Everyone cutting man start every day, new you with a millions flow. Switched it up on my dark skin on the M-way, had my lighty bringing in smoke. This girl wanna see millions, no, whoa, you best get my brothers involved. Make my first meal by 2021 and I'll change my name to Billions, bro. Bro said it's not on him, but still got him down, he's so indecisive. In my new spot, sales ain't local, so I'm on Snapchat scouting drivers. I can see a young apprentice typing, is he really on job or just inquiring? By the week, that's the usual prices, give them 650 if they do all-nighters. And I just fucked my high school crush, they rate me back then, so I did it for the cause. I told bro, put the tune on pause, is it just me or is there a knock at the door? Gone police only feds with balls, try up until bad man get on the floor. And put Budge up in Rizzler's road to the phone.
That's a man like Lacey in the chat. I'm looking forward to speaking to you a little bit later on, my friend.
Don't make two youths swim like diving and synchronize the quiets. I don't serve them big issue addicts. No. Try sit on the camera all day, then try bring pennies to fix their habits. Cats get punched up from in road dramatics, so trying to flag man down in broad day traffic. Shit ass mid and the thing ain't green, it's the last time gonna do traders insurance. No. Been chasing this youth for a minute, don't smoke, so I'm really gonna test his endurance.
Sounds of Millions on this one.
Make sure it's a comfy performance.
Track entitled Billions.
Everyone cutting man start every day, new youth with a millions flow. Switched it up on my dark skin on the M-way, had my lighty bringing in smoke. This girl wanna see millions, no, whoa, you best get my brothers involved. Make my first meal by 2021 and I'll change my name to Billions, bro. Everyone cutting man start every day, new youth with a millions flow. Switched it up on my dark skin on the M-way, had my lighty bringing in smoke. This girl wanna see millions, no, whoa, you best get my brothers involved. Make my first meal by 2021 and I'll change my name to Billions, bro.
There we go. How are we doing this morning, my friends? It is Brekky In The Cave. Thank you for joining me this morning. We have got a fantastic show on the way. This is youtube.com/CubCamTV and, of course, Trickstar Radio as well. I am buzzing for today's show. I've been looking forward to this one for a hot minute. We've got 3 amazing guests on the way, and normally I'll have a bit of a babble before I get into it, but today it's all about the guests, so what I'm going to be doing is running through them straight away. First of all, we have got Freshta joining us. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. We're going to be talking through her sort of history through DJing, her projects that she's currently working on, what she's been doing during lockdown. Really excited for that. As well as that, we're going to be talking to a man like Lacey, of course, the over-the-edge main man when it comes to the DJing side of things. Obviously, a pretty prolific radio DJ in regards to everything he's been doing. Also, a writer for Red Bull as well. So we're going to be talking through how he's been involved in all of these different projects over the last few years or so. Really exciting stuff. And then, of course, at 11:30, we're going to be talking to man like N-Type, and I can safely say the 16-year-old in me is literally leaping and is pretty uncontrollable right now. I can safely say that when I was growing up, listening to when music was really like becoming a major thing for me, N-Type's Rinse show was one of the shows that I would look out for every week. I would try to be there live, and if not, I would be literally furiously clicking on the Rinse website trying to get the podcast to update so I could download it. That's where I found so much of the music I love today was through that show. So it's going to be amazing to talk to him. We're going to be talking Wheel and Deal. We're going to be talking dubstep in 2020 and what's next for the genre, what's on the way, all of that good stuff. And it's going to be very, very enjoyable as well. So it's definitely going to be one that I would recommend locking in for. Before we crack on, I do want to send a few shout outs to the new subscribers, because we've had a load appear over the last few hours. Out to Alex de Lacey joining us as well. Out to Purple Moon, out to Gibetto Dunbar, out to Derby Official, out to Liam Garside, out to Stephen Kenyon, out to Hakeem Hall as well, and everyone else who subscribed during that time period. I think we've gone up about 8 since we did the show yesterday. So out to all of you guys, thank you for joining the show. If you are locked in today for the first time, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. It makes a massive difference to the channel, and we have got some fantastic guests on the way, as well as new content for the channel. I've actually got a very exciting phone call later on this afternoon. Well, later on today, I should say, this afternoon, with a very, very prolific events company, not only in Brighton, but also around the UK in regards to festivals and things like that. And we're going to be talking about getting me involved for doing live interviews at the event. So hopefully that means we can take some extra footages away from it. It means we're going to have actual footage from the dances and from the raves, backstage, all that good stuff. Hopefully we're going to become a bit more of an exclusive channel in regards to the content we're able to gather, which should be really good. And of course, we've got loads of reaction videos on the way. We've also got the first episode of Bridge the Gap, which should be dropping this weekend as well. Myself and Ed Rants, basically breaking down the differences and then similarities between grime and drill, because we sat down basically for an hour and listened through 5 grime tunes and 5 drill tunes that we had selected that we felt aligned. And we found out by the end of it that the genres are so similar, both sonically and in their kind of incarnation, in how they've come into be, their inception, everything behind it. They're so similar that we just could not work out why there are drill fans who can't stand grime and why there are grime fans who can't stand drill. It just seems to make no sense. It makes no sense to me, to be honest with you. So yeah, it should be interesting to look at that video when it does finally drop. I am very excited to do so. Out to all the locked in crew each and every time. Of course, as I've said before, please do make sure you are throwing a like on the video. It makes a massive difference in regards to the growth of the video, the amount of people that are able to see it. There we go. Ryan Gallis in the chat saying, can say from personal experience that dubstep is alive as well. Curious on what N-Type has to say on the scene though. No, so am I. I am very excited to hear what he has to say, purely because it's going to be coming, well, without want of a better phrase, literally straight from the horse's mouth. This is the guy that is on the ground. Obviously, he knows exactly what's going on. He still has one of the most listened to dubstep shows in the world. So when he does pop up on Rinse, so I'm very excited to see what's going on there. Just to run through a few quick words from obviously the sponsorship and all that good stuff for the show. It is primarily run by myself, but we do have a little bit of help here and there. First of all, though, I want to make sure you are checking out the socials at KXVU on all the platforms. I'm nearly on 3K on Insta. If you could throw me an Insta follow, that'd be lovely. It is going up naturally though, which is quite fun in regards to that. But all of those platforms, that's Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, and Instagram at KXVU, as well as that. If it's your first time locking into the show, then you probably won't know that you can check this show out via podcast format. So that is on Spotify, Apple Music, and SoundCloud. All you need to do is search Breakfast with KXVU, the interviews, and you'll be able to find the shows with no music, just conversation. And then also we have to send a quick shout, of course, to Sharp and Digital, who help us out a lot with the SEO and the tagging for videos. Sharp and Digital, as you can see, the alternative to hiring social media managers. I would recommend them very highly indeed. If you're looking for that extra oomph on your project, they are the official sponsor of Brekky In The Cave. And of course, hit that subscribe button. So we're going to jump into a banger next, because I've been waffling on for a hot minute, but there's so much to waffle on about. I'm excited. We're going to get into a new one next from this one. You know what? We're running this again just because it's an absolute banger. Sounds of Gets, this one featuring JK and Mood Child Sonali. This one going by the name of Mozambique. Now, if you haven't heard this tune already on the channel, we did put together a Cub Reacts for it, and it's the most I think it's the most commented thing on the channel, bar the Burner Boy video. I think it's the most commented on video that I have on the channel, and everyone's basically saying the analysis is quite spot on. So don't take it from me, take it from the commenters, because obviously YouTube commenters are the most real source of criticism you can get in this world. But do go and check that out after this show. For the time being, though, make sure you keep it locked. We are live on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky In The Cave, and yeah, this one coming from Gets. It's an absolute banger. Oh my word.
My police Yo, this is Elisa Barnes.
Yo, what's wrong with these niggas? Man can't tell me about these streets. Man never grew up near no damn beats. Man's got shooters from Mozambique. Shoot off Mozambique. So you lot roll in peace. But if you got something to say, Do not hold him, please. They say death comes in twat, so I do not roll in freeze. Are you lot dying to piss? Cause you look like you're holding peas. Pull up, stolen Jeep. Put up, phone the police. Push up your boat and bleed. I heard they cook up the coke and leave. Man's going in there now. I'm just up the road indeed. I swear I search everywhere like I'm looking for phone and keys. Knife in the wind, poke and breeze. Wish your girl never saw that.
That's a Lacey saying, rude kid, better than arrows. Oh my word, this instrumental is unbelievable.
Told on the young crow that week, oh that's weak. Hole in your brain, you ain't got a thought that deep. Man think I'm missing a drop, what? I caught that clean.
I don't know, bro, I don't know. Speak the streets, bro. Only way, dog. Cops don't know. Pay the streets, though. Sell some real green dope. Sell some real green dope. Make some real mean dope. Make some real mean dope. I don't know, bro, I don't know. Speak the streets, bro. Only way, dog. Cops don't know. Pay the streets, though. Sell some real green dope. Sell some real green dope. Make some real mean dope. Make some real mean dope.
What's wrong with these man? Can't tell me about 28 gram. Grew up on Korean rice, not ham. Man, I got shooters from Pakistan. Shoot off after you fam. Rooftop like Taliban. So let me give you lot some advice and stop stunting like Jackie Chan. Yeah, they say you are what you eat, and I still ain't been Hakkasan. And that's them who started the beef. I ain't slid round yet, that's a plan. Roll up, stolen McGann. Whole lot of smoke for your gang. Folding notes in my hand, yeah, I told him phone me up when it lands. Yeah, this beef's Kobe cut from Japan. Hold up a clutch from my hand. You can put me in a World Cup.
This is probably my favourite JK verse in a while as well.
Notice, but I'm the man.
Punchlines, brother.
Fam. All of this bullshit just cause he owed him a grand. From true 20 man deep. Silence can't hear any man speak. Nightmares can't get any more sleep. Forget those who got buried last week. I keep things sweet. On my table I let every man eat. And I wish I had a girl who would let a man cheat.
I don't know, bro, I don't know. Speak the streets, bro. Only way, dog. Cops don't know. Pay the streets, though. Sell some real green dope. Sell some real green dope. Make some real mean dope. Make some real mean dope. I don't know, bro, I don't know. Speak the streets, bro. Only way, dog. Cops don't know. Pay the streets, though. Sell some real green dope. Sell some real green dope. Make some real mean dope. Make some real mean dope. You I'm in Birmingham. Mina, I'm from South Africa. Hey, Mandela. Lo mfana ufuna ivisa ngiqala ikaka. Anaxesha lamasimba wodwa. Ndizomshiya phansi. Kakade nalancanca iyasindwa yodwa. Iballs zinzima.
Stared in the face of death. Man, them told me I'm stupid. So many years of ref. Only been shot by Cupid. Can't tell me about cuff, cuff, queff. Only air them things in music. Ran in, take a wrong left. Victim of a shooting. What can they tell me about chef?
Come on, Gets.
Food a human. That man ain't looked at my grill. And I ain't had to barbecue them. What can they tell me about crack? Ask Danny and Susan. What can they tell me about chat like I weren't trapped in this foolish illusion? There's never had no heavy. My man still got 20. They never found no body. They don't know where she buried. Bad words from the UK. We don't drive no Chevys. Can't call a foreign unless it's a Rari like Balotelli's.
Are you mad, bro? Are you mad? That tune is possibly, well, for me anyway, that's quite clearly the standout grime tune of the year so far. There's been a few bangers floating around, but for me, this is quite substantially the strongest grime tune I've heard this year. I feel JK absolutely smashes it to pieces. Mood Child Sonali adds such an interesting additional take to it as well. It just completely, it takes the tune to a whole different level. And of course, Gets is on just top stellar Gets form. And he has been for a few days. I was saying this on the show yesterday. What was it on? He was on Mad About Bars on Sunday. He was on, and then the same evening he was on NS 10v10. And then obviously he's dropped this tune last week as well. And he said there's an album on the way. It's an exciting time if you're a Gets fan, man. I'm really excited to see exactly what Gets has in the locker for the rest of 2020, because I'm assuming he's got bangers. He always has bangers, so I'm assuming there's just going to be a stream of well-produced bangers now moving into the future, and I am buzzing to see it. Out to my locked-in crew each and every time, I'm going to say it one more time. Throw a like on the video. Hit subscribe if it's your first time tuning into the show, purely because they're only going to get better and better. So if you're here now, you can say you're part of it moving forward. As I said before, out to everyone who is keeping those subscriptions growing. We're in a process now of moving forward with it. We hit 500 subs after the first 100 days of the channel being up and running. We've now gone up to nearly 650 in I think it's 14 days after that. So we're growing quite rapidly, and it's a bit of a madness, to be honest with you. So we want to keep up this growth, and the aim is to hit 1,000 before the end of 1,000 within the next 100 within the next 90 days, and it should be doable. If everyone who is enjoying the show does hit subscribe, that's very much doable, and then we can start monetizing content and get some extra good stuff floating around. So let's crack on then with a little news article or two. First of all, out to everyone in the chat, if there's anything you wanted me to discuss or anything you wanted me to take a look at that we could bring to the attention, please do feel free to let us know, and obviously let us know how you're feeling about tunes, etc., etc. Because I want to make sure this show is as interactive as possible. You know, I want to make sure it's a place where people can enjoy their lockdown wake-ups. And obviously we've been here since the start of lockdown. Lockdown is looking like it's easing, but obviously I'm lucky enough to call this my day job. So as soon as I'm back from here, we are going to be back in the Trickstar studio, and we're going to be running the show as normal. But we're still going to be live streaming the last hour and a half, so it should run exactly the same, just a couple of hours earlier. Out to Imogen Lawler joining the subscription. Out to you. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Every subscription makes a huge difference, obviously, and we are trying to make the page grow. So thank you, Imogen. You made a massive difference. Let's have a little look through this. It's a very unusual article, but I thought, you know what, we haven't done a weird one in a while. A creator... that's very ambiguous as a creator has made a detailed model of Wigan Pier nightclub. Okay, so I've seen a lot of people like slating off people who make stuff in Minecraft, who make stuff in Fortnite, or just make stuff make stuff in games. But this is getting praised, so we're gonna have a look at it. It's been more than 5 years since the final section of the legendary Wigan Pier was demolished. Was Wigan Pier legendary? I don't know. I've never seen it. But now a creator. Don't know why I find that term so funny. Called Mike Mahoney has recreated the nightclub as a miniature detailed model. Wigan Pier was popular through the 70s rave scene, becoming synonymous with styles such as bounce. Okay, so it's a 90s thing. That's probably why I haven't heard of it. I was too busy playing Pokemon in the 90s. So the memories from Wigan Pier Facebook page shared an image of the video model, writing that literally the best thing I've ever seen. A guy named Mike Mahoney has built an actual model of Wigan Pier, which he started back in 2012. And has pretty much finished it over the lockdown period. What a effing buzz. Look at the detail on it. Okay, there's lockdown projects and there's lockdown projects. I won't lie to you. I won't lie to you. I am surprised that someone has spent 8 years building a model of Wigan Pier, but apparently it was vital for Northern Soul. Oh, there we go. I didn't know that. Thank you, Lacey. See, this is why you're coming on the show today, because you know things. And I like to think I know things, but clearly you know things, and that means we can combine things we know. It'll be brilliant. But yeah, looking through this, he first started making it in 2014 apparently, and has been working on and off towards the completion. Regarding the process and plans for the model, he said, I drew loads of plans until everything looked right, and then made it out of cardboard and thin beams of wood and coloured card from hobby shops. Started it in 2014, and then from 2016 it sat under a cover until April this year. I updated it after the attention it got after sharing it on Facebook. So there we go. It's made a full model of Wigan Pier. To be fair, it does look pretty good, and it's made out of cardboard. I'm not going to bring it up on the screen. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop the Mixmag article into the chat so you can take a look and hopefully enjoy it. There you go. I'm going to drop it in there now. It's a Mixmag article focusing in on Wigan Pier. Out to everyone locking in this morning. I can see the numbers are slowly but surely creeping up. Thank you to all of you. If it's your first time locking in, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. As you can see by that little button down there below, it makes a massive difference to the channel. Yeah, we're in a process of growing right about now, so please do get involved and throw a like on the video as well. That makes a massive difference. So we've had a message asking for some hip hop. Have we? We're going to play some hip hop in the chat. Out to man like the Slinky Tortoise saying we need to run some hip hop this morning. So I'm going to have a little little look through what we've got in the bag. I know we've got a few more recent hip-hoppy bits as well, so let's have a little look through, shall we? There we go. We've got some fresh 4 hours. That's as hip-hop as we're going today. Out to everyone locking in right about now. Alex de Lacey says, wait. I've got the pier and the casino confused. So it was the casino that was good for Northern Soul, not Wigan Pier. Wigan Casino. I was going to say, a casino sounds more like a place you're going to hear Northern Soul rather than Wigan Pier. I just associate Wigan Pier with, with the now I've heard it, the rave scene makes perfect sense, but there we go. This one going out to Slinky Tortoise. This one is the 4 Hours with B3, one of their most recent singles. Out to the Locked In crew each and every time. We're doing requests now. But yeah, show us some love in the chat. Let us know where you're locked in from, who you're looking forward to most this morning. Just get involved, because as soon as that chat starts popping, it pops up on more people's news feeds. So it's a good thing to do. Just say hello. Let us know where you're locked in from. Let us know if you're subbing as well. And don't go anywhere. Keep it locked. It's Brekky In The Cave, baby. Trickstar Radio, Cubcam TV.
We just wanna be free. Yeah. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression. If you can't free your mind, you might not see the message. Breathe easy, meditate, see the lesson. Progressing to another phase, but keep the essence. Not getting caught within the indecision, following the inner visions, overcome the limitations. A lot to take into consideration, like the years spent writing down in the basement. Hate to see us win, oh well, commiserations. Break limitations, quick escapes from twisted mazes. Did we make it back home or leave part of us there? It was unfair, felt like a fun fair. We take back control, remotely send messages. See, payback is cold. I seen them slip and let the devil in. They revel in the madness that's never been established.
Yeah, the rain set the sun pour. Can't remember what I even come for. On tour, fans say they want more. Looking washed up, now he's on shore. Caught up by the love that was once pure. So what's freedom? Something that you earn or you believe in. I guess the essence of it's still breathing. As long as I be dreaming, visualize it then it comes to being. Never estimate the way they come to see it. Can't perceive it when it's needed. Caught up in the next day, hard for you to leave it. You can read the signs, don't believe it. People talk a lot and never mean it. Only got one life, so try free it. Give me 24 hours, all I'm needing. I change your whole life on this evening. You were thinking about leaving. I will switch it up before you're grieving. Regretting all the times you missed out for no reason.
Be free. It's all I ever really wanted us to be. Take a moment, let us make a memory. Escape the pain and find the freedom in your dreams. You hold the power in your soul, so let it be. Free, it's all I ever really wanted us to be. Take a moment, let us make a memory. Escape the pain and find the freedom in your dreams.
Something like a state of mind or a way of being. But when you're trapped, it ain't a thing you're seeing. They tell you free your mind, but might not know a thing they're speaking. Cause when they're full of shit, you're bound to see a bit leaking. You gotta go for own, cause no one can stop you when you get
Sounds of the 4 Hours on this one, doing what they do best.
To the dome, control your ego. I know it's hard when you reaches couple 100,000 people. Ain't a world away from anxious and self-hatred. Concerned with looks and words that come from other people's faces. A sense of freedom has no...
Been really fun watching High Focus over the last few weeks.
While you're rolling with the punches, you can roll with the bass licks. Kick back too many people stuck in the matrix. I think back to times when we'd spit till the tape clicked. Half-baked, man, I wish I could listen to it.
Yo, it's Freshta. You're now locked into The Breakfast Show with Kovu. Anytime it's live, you have to go true. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, Cubcam TV. Stay locked.
Trust me, listen to what Forster says, bro. Listen to what Forster says. Forster says subscribe, so you should all subscribe. Out to Alex de Lacey throwing up 4 hours in the chat. Out to Ben Killick saying, looking forward to seeing what de Lacey's got in the crate. I'm looking forward to the conversation as much as anything, man. It's one of these things, often down here in sunny old Brighton, it feels almost like I'm observing a lot of different scenes and a lot of different movements from afar. And it's quite fun to do because it means you can keep up to date with what people are doing individually and all the different elements of what's popping. And it's sick to see more than anything else, and I'm very keen to see what de Lacey is going to be discussing. However, we're going to be jumping on the phone with Freshta in around 7 minutes or so, so go and tell a friend, give the stream a share, of course, throw a like on it as well, do all of that good stuff. It makes a massive difference to the channel whenever anyone does. So let's move on to our next bit of discussion, as we apparently find out that Earth is invading Mars. That's where we are, people. Earth apparently is invading Mars, so this should be very interesting indeed. Earth invades Mars. 3 countries sending ships to the Red Planet planet this month. Okay, cool. This is where we are. Good stuff. 3 separate countries, the United States, China, and the United Arab Emirates, are all launching missions to Mars within the next few weeks. All of the missions are unmanned, but they all lay the groundwork for humans to one day set foot on the red planet. It's happening, people. We're off to Mars. I think people have had enough, and they are going to be off and away to space, essentially. Each craft will have to travel over 300 million miles to reach Mars, and will likely arrive sometime in next February. But there's a reason all of the countries that are launching their missions so close together. The orbit of Mars and Earth align on the same side of the sun once every 26 months, and for only a period in that month. When it comes to cutting time travel and fuel costs between the two worlds, this is the 1 month window that you're aiming for, essentially. Okay, cool. So because of the essentially space and how space works, and obviously rotations and orbits and stuff like that, I think that pretty much means that this is a period of time in which the two planets are actually a lot closer together than they would be otherwise. That makes sense. So it makes sense as to why so many people are launching at the same time. I am on the Metro website here, so I'm assuming my stream's going to get a little bit buggy at some point, because there's so many pop-ups on this website. It's unbelievable. It's like looking at a slot machine. It's literally stuff going off left, right, and center. The United States and China will be aiming. Oh my word! There's so many. Panda sanctuaries everywhere. The United States and China will be aiming to put rovers on the Martian surface, whilst the United Arab Emirates is planning to put an orbit higher above to measure the weather conditions on Mars. So far, only the United States have been able to successfully land craft on Mars, although Europe and India have also managed to put orbiters into place around the planet. The United Arab Emirates craft is called the Amal, Arabic for hope, and is the biggest space project yet for the nation. The United Arab Emirates wanted to send a very strong message to the Arab Youth project, saying manager Omran Sharaf told the AP news agency yesterday. That's what he told them. The message is here that the United Arab Emirates can reach Mars in less than 50 years. Then you can do much more. The nice thing about space is it sets the standards really high. Oh, that's nice. I like that. That's a good way to put things. There we go then. Interesting. We're going to be spending loads of craft to space. Now, I like looking at space articles purely because a lot of the time when we do look into these projects, we kind of think, oh, space travel's already happened. It doesn't happen anymore. It's still happening. If it gets to the point where I can go to space one day and not guarantee, but make it very, very likely that I'm not going to explode and die in space, I will probably go to space at one point. I'm not big on travel, but if the opportunity arises for me to go to space, I probably will at some point, because I think it's one of the most interesting things that are humans we can look into. Morning, WT4Y. It's good to see you in the chat, my friend. It's always good to see you bubbling about, bringing that good energy, bringing those good vibes, and out to everyone locking in. And I see the likes slowly creeping up, but let's get a couple more likes in there. Anyone who hasn't liked the video, like it now. Do me a favor. It takes less than a couple of seconds. Come on, do me a favor, my friends. And of course, if you are locked in for the first time, hit that subscribe button. So we're going to jump into a banger next. Wow, I had to go back a long way to find that to find that 4 Hours tune. So let's get into the new one from Unknown T, shall we? This one going by the name of Dead Dare. This one is an absolute banger. We're going to be jumping on the line with Freshta in just a second, which I am really looking forward to be honest with you. It should be a good one. Should be a good one indeed. So keep it locked. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to jump on the phone in just a second. Out to everyone in the chat. Yeah, keep it locked. Brekky In The Cave, Cubcam TV, Trickstar Radio, all that good stuff.
Up the thing, I'm out there,
Out to WT4Y saying, just copped a jar of Biscoff spread. Life is good. Living in luxury this morning, my friend.
9 gang circle around. Rise up the thing, I'm out there. We crash on pets, 4-4 in the back, let's thing right round. Slap piece for a techno watch, but I'm able to bust that.
To the On The Wax crew in the building as well. How you doing, guys? Hope you're all good. Hope lockdown is treating you well.
Young boy circle around. Ain't my luck if the thing don't sneeze, don't care if it's peas, I'm blocking it down. Don't flex and chill with the ops, then think that everything Chris slap brown. 9 boys pop up with skanks both sides, no trace and we're lurking your town. You don't know about stress on a ride with us, I'm a ride holding my waist and fidget. And if we butt up, slap bills in a skank, reverse it back and then wig it. I'm speaking facts, I don't chat shit on a trap, man, live it. They booted your mumsy's yard, all now that sun didn't chip in. All of my favourite pagans locked in a rock, now I'm beefing clowns and chickens. Back then I was young with a Smith'n, so I ain't gotta prove no points. Real gangsters don't need to talk about drillings. I made some cake to my name, this paper attracted a load of women. I'm a natural tug, so the ladies love how I'm winning. Feds took go through the waps, that's a big expense. Now half my team on the bench. It's sad cause the up boys think they got booters. One time they ain't been bent. Listen, free trapper, we were in the bando, plotting things it's meant. Ops get water daily, dear man circle around and you're gonna get drenched, splash, wet up. Rise up the ting and bow. We crash on pets, 4-4 in the back, let's ding right round. Slap piece for a techno watch, but I'm able to bust that down. No way, we don't do no square routes, 9 gang circle around. On my block there's a team meeting to my young boy circle around. Ain't my luck if the ting don't sneeze, don't care if it's peas, I'm blocking it down. Don't flex and chill with the ops, then think that everything Chris slap brown. 9 boys pop up with skanks both sides, no trace and we're lurking your town. I'm slapping up.
Right then, my friends, we're back inside the building. How are we doing this morning? We are live on Cubcam TV. I finally managed to have a swig of my tea, which I've been looking forward to all morning. It was far too hot when I brought it down here, but there we go. We're joined by our first guest of the day. Freshta joins us. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. I'm feeling good. We've got a nice, lively chat this morning. Everyone's looking like they're looking forward to the show.
This is like the earliest I've ever done any radio interview sort of thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I normally do it in the evening, so I'm feeling awake.
That's good. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad we can kickstart your day with some good vibes. Then that's always good. That's always good to see. Okay, cool. So I mean, we've got a lot to discuss today. Obviously, you've sent over some bangers for us to get into as well, which I'm really looking forward to. But let's kind of take things back to the beginning. Obviously, for today's show specifically, I feel we've got quite like a mixed kind of group of kind of guests and quite a mixed group in the chat as well. So let's take things back to the beginning and say, for those that don't know, who is Freshta?
Who is Freshta? So Freshta is a DJ and radio host. Outside of music, I do a lot of other stuff as well. So I'm a human biology graduate and also do stuff in tech as well. But yeah, mainly DJ and radio host. So I haven't been doing it for that long. However, my love for music has been around for a long time, but it's only really been the last 3 years where I've kind of been DJing properly and doing radio. Okay.
How have you found that? How have you found that as a process then? Because obviously, being like, did you say biology grad?
Human biology, yeah.
So like, I was gonna say, how does human biology compare to doing grime sets on radio?
Oh my god, it's so different. I think that's why like a lot of people around me, people that I know personally, were kind of like confused as the whole thing is, oh, she's so like academic, but also she now really wants to DJ, which has been kind of weird. However, I think it just kind of proves you can do what you want to do, and you don't have to be kind of stuck into one stereotype. You can also be like multi-talented and multifaceted as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's just quite a almost like a big leap more than anything else.
Definitely, yeah.
Like when you were like kind of like, what was the thing that drew you towards it more than anything else? Because obviously I'd imagine being in that quite like academic world, obviously a lot of stuff is gonna. I wouldn't have imagined like kind of DJing being the like sort of top of the list of outside hobbies.
I think for me, so the way I kind of got into DJing is I kind of would go out a lot and go to raves a lot when I was younger, and it started off as kind of like going to drum and bass raves. I think we all know kind of like the squat rave era and that stuff, and then I kind of got into grime, and that would kind of be like my release on the weekends as well. So that's when I would go out and kind of discover all this new music, discover all these DJs, MCs and stuff like that, and just kind of got into it as like a thing on the side. Obviously it was kind of weird because not a lot of people around me were into the same thing, but I just kind of made it my own really and thought I want to do something with this, and kind of just taught myself DJing from there.
Amazing. I mean it's a good one to say, because I think obviously I think the interesting thing with this is there are a lot of like the sort of, I want to say super popping DJ heads now. A lot of them tended to start during that uni period. A lot of them tend to start whilst they're doing other things, like studying English lit or something like that, you tend to find. So like obviously with those earlier sort of days then, obviously it was a hobby more than anything else, but did you find there were any kind of issues with balancing the two as kind of disciplines?
It has been difficult. I think generally my lifestyle is always very much go, go, go. I'm never someone to kind of lazy around. I'm always doing stuff, but I think I've adapted well to it, to be honest. It is hard to balance things out, not even just DJing, just general life, but I think if you're organised and you've got your mindset stuck to it and you know what you want to do, it's kind of easy to get around it.
Definitely. I can feel that, and I think as well, obviously, and I don't know if this is going to be like a bit presumptuous or whatever, but I presume from doing something like human biology, which is obviously a very academic, very kind of, there's a lot to take in, I would presume. I would presume you'd have to be quite on the ball to kind of get on with the course.
Yeah, you don't have a choice, otherwise you'll be done out here.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's what a way to start off the show. It's amazing. I think this is the first time I've spoken to a human biology graduate, so there we go.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, just to touch on it in general, like, is it still something you're like kind of pursuing as a sort of a main career alongside music, or like what is it something you're planning to use?
Not at the moment. However, I have found that it's stuck, like everything I've learned in my degree has stuck with me, and I can tell differences in like meeting people that they don't know enough about like their own human body, and I still read up on it and research things, and obviously with this whole pandemic, it's just like my degree just kind of in the world now. But it's not something that I want to go into at the moment. I have worked in private healthcare in the past, kind of linked to my degree, but we'll kind of see. No plans at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah, that's cool. It's just quite an interesting one to kind of look at as an original thing. And obviously, you said you're involved in tech as well. So, as you said, it does seem like the plate is very, very full, kind of very, very early, more than anything else.
It is, yeah. No, it is quite full. But I mean, if I'm interested in something, I do give it my all. And there's so many things that you can do with life. And like I said before, I don't feel like I need to be kind of stuck in one stereotype either.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Well, what a start, man. I'm kind of blown away by that. Out to Tia Talks in the chat saying Freshta with 5 A's. Wow, that's a big one. Out to Grace Lee joining us this morning as well, saying we really can do whatever, multifaceted for real. Good stuff. I mean, I like with that then, obviously, do you find kind of people coming to you for advice about how to kind of balance things? Because as I said, it's a full plate.
Yeah, I actually do all the time. Everyone always asks me, like, how do you do so much? Like, how can you get through it? And the two things I always say is first, coffee, for sure. I don't remember my life before I drank coffee, honestly. I used to get so tired all the time, and now it's like the only thing that actually keeps me up and doing things. However, the more important thing is you just have to have the right mindset of you have to get stuff done. And you don't really have a choice if, you can't really complete your day without getting everything done, and you have to reply to emails, and you have to reach that deadline. And I think it's almost like I have a sort of fear of like not getting stuff done. I can
fully 1,000% relate, and there's a few people in the chat that will agree. I think.
And I think some people don't have that fear. They kind of just go, oh well, I'll sort it out tomorrow, and I can't do that. And I think that's kind of what differentiates people who can like balance things almost.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it's almost like it's almost like a necessity. Sorry, necessity is not a word. Necessity for the urgency behind getting stuff done.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
For sure, definitely.
More than anything else. Okay, cool. Well, this is, as I said, what a start to the show. This has been a very enjoyable one. So what we're going to do is, you sent over a number of bangers for me to get into. We're going to start off with this tune from Rada. It goes by the name of Burn One. So talk to me about this.
Perfect. So this one's from Rada. So she is a young singer, female singer, and she is so sick. I've discovered her through Kish. You might know him. He's a rapper he's really sick as well, and I've worked with him in the past. I was meant to have him on a radio show before Corona, but that kind of messed up. But him and Rada work together all the time, and she is so sick. Like I don't know if she has a project coming out soon, but I would expect it with the releases that she's been making. And you can stream this tune at the moment on all the platforms, and it's got a music video up on YouTube as well.
Awesome. Wicked. Right, well, we'll get into this one now then. Don't go anywhere, my friends. We are live on Cubcam TV, Trickstar Radio as well. If it's your first time locking in, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. Throw a like on the video as well, and let us know how you're feeling in the chat. Don't go anywhere.
place cause I'm dumping. G, it's late and you're bumping. Please, once for something. It's been like 2 weeks and I still don't wanna come home. Give it a new week and my mom starts ringing my phone. I know you feel me, so my mind just tells me to stay. Guess it won't kill me. You love me, so you fucked it and it fell right through. Don't trust me, you don't know that I can hurt you too. It's hard to find peace when we're not done. Let's watch some TV while I burn one. You love me, so you fucked it and it fell right through. Don't trust me, you don't know that I can hurt you too. It's hard to find peace when we're not done. Let's watch some TV while I burn one. Yeah. Do you want to forget this insanity? Would you like me to lie down? Do you want to take 5 for some clarity? It's just me with you right now. That was good. You love me, so you fucked it and it fell right through. Don't trust me, you don't know that I can hurt you too. It's hard to find peace when we're not done. Let's watch some TV while I burn one. You love me, so you fucked it and it fell right through. Don't trust me, you don't know that I can hurt you too. It's hard to find peace when we're not done. Let's watch some TV while I burn one. Teach me of this world's existence, when kindness is taken for weakness. Teach me of this world's existence, when kindness is taken for weakness. You love me, so you fucked it and it fell right through.
Right then, my friends, this one coming from Rana, track entitled Burn One. I think all of us were kind of floating away with that one. I think I've literally just disconnected from Freshta, so there we go. We're going to ring back now, and hopefully we're back on the line. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Hi.
We are still here. It's all good. It's all good. Right then, out to Grace Lee in the chat saying, yes, more power to people educating ourselves on our own bodies. Very good point indeed. I completely agree. Out to Goo Sensi. Is it Goo Sensi? I think that's how you pronounce it. Saying big up Freshta. Out to Alex de Lacey saying Kish, Gangway, and Jay River. How are you doing, River? It's been a hot minute since I've seen you. Man like Cub the Godfather, keep up the hard work. G, nice to see de Lacey on here. I'm looking forward to it, but for the time being, I'm looking forward to the rest of this conversation more so because Freshta is on the line, and we're going to talk about radio, which is obviously something which is very important to both of us, I feel, in what we do. So, talk me through the process of how you kind of first got involved with radio specifically.
So I used to listen to a lot of radio all the time, but I'd never really thought about me hosting my own radio show. And it's weird because I actually used to be quite shy and kind of... but obviously for radio it's kind of difficult to be like that and also be on air. So I joined, I don't know if I should say their name, but Radar Radio.
I think you can say the name of it. I think it's more kind of like going back and promoting content. Yeah, of course.
No, but I joined Radar Radio and I did a course on there, and that's kind of when I kind of got into radio. And if I'm honest, obviously a lot of stuff happened with that station, but I did learn a lot about radio from there. Learn about, kind of like shaping your own show, having a producer, what you want from the producer, or if you don't have a producer, how you do it yourself. I remember a lot of people there taught me so much. Shy One, who's a DJ and producer, she's taught me so much. So yeah, that's kind of when I started to get into it, really.
Okay, cool. So it's kind of spiraled from there then, and obviously we're seeing you pop up in a lot of places. Since then, where have you got involved?
So I've been on Mode FM, NTS, Represent. I've been on stations abroad, in other countries like Barcelona, Shanghai. At the moment, I don't have a residency, but I quite like the idea of kind of taking my own show to other stations and kind of almost station hopping. But I am regularly on NTS, which is where most people kind of like associate me with.
Okay, cool. Like, so obviously you've spoken there about kind of moving around different stations a fair bit, and we were discussing this off air, and I really want to ask this question purely because it's a question I've never thought to ask, and I don't know how, because the amount of times I talk about radio on this show, on my own radio show, is ridiculous. But do you feel for different stations you have to kind of build a different show, or do you kind of take the same approach wherever you go?
I do feel like I need to take a different approach with different stations. I think like the image of station can vary, and also their audience especially can vary. So I try and keep that in mind when I actually build a radio show. For example, I hope they don't mind me saying this, but with NTS, I know they have a global reach, and also their audience sometimes doesn't necessarily listen to my type of music. So I try and just kind of make sure that is kind of built a bit better, and also the tracks that I choose are right for that global audience as well. But in terms of if I'm on like Represent, it's more of a young station, it's more local, it's more London. I can get like local MCs on, which I know the audience will love and want to hear, and just kind of like hone it into kind of the local area as well.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I think it's an interesting approach, because obviously we're at a point now where a lot of the kind of bigger stations are now going, look, especially I think post-COVID, where things have obviously had to shift around, people who maybe had residencies aren't able to keep up their residencies or whatever. We're seeing a lot now that a lot of stations are out there fully like advertising, saying, look, we're looking to bring new DJs in, we're looking to bring new talent in or whatever. So it's quite an interesting conversation to dive into, that thing of like obviously researching the station, making sure you know what the station is all about before you kind of send a demo in.
Definitely. NTS is very professional. Like before I went on there, I didn't realize kind of how professional it was, and how like they take it very, very seriously. Like they've got their own chat room, and in the chat room they've got listeners that are there all the time just listening to NTS. So it's quite nice to see how much of a family they are, but also the scale that they're on as well, how it's very global. So you just got to make sure you're always on point.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's good though. That must be quite like an enjoyable feeling when you go somewhere like NTS and you suddenly and you look around and see the professionalism. It must kind of does it give you like an injection of, okay, I've got to be on point here?
Definitely, and because I'm so organised as well, it's just like, okay, this is where I'm kind of meant to be. For my radio shows, I actually, I know some people kind of just wing it, but I always prep my radio shows, and I have like a Google Doc where I just write out kind of, not a script, but kind of where I want to be going, what I want to be saying, etc., and just try and make sure I'm organised in that way. So it's nice to see when I'm at NTS, obviously everyone kind of does the same thing as well.
Definitely, yeah. And I think more than anything as well, I find, now I'm talking from personal experience here, I find when you're in that kind of very organised environment, I'm smiling talking about this, that's how much I enjoy the idea of it. But when you're in that...
sad, aren't we?
Yeah, but when you're in that kind of organised environment, more than anything else, it kind of inspires you to even try to do even better more than anything else.
Definitely. Definitely, the people around you are always the people that are going to motivate and inspire you. So it's right to, you need to have those right type of people around you as well.
Definitely, man. Really, really cool. Okay, cool. Well, we're going to kind of move forward then, and obviously you've spoken there quite briefly, and I want to touch on it a little bit more about the idea of kind of taking your show to different stations. Like, did you have any kind of plans in the works with that, like the kind of structure of it or anything like that?
I actually haven't. Obviously, with COVID, the whole pandemic, it's just been a bit difficult with radio at the moment. But it's kind of something where I just thought, do you know what, I kind of want to own the fact that I don't have a residency and I'm kind of able to kind of hop around on these radio stations. It gives me a bit more of a reach as well to different audiences, but it wasn't actually a plan to do so. But I don't really see many people doing that, which makes me think it could be sort of a niche for me.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's the only person that kind of springs to mind with it is the Heatwave. That's the only sort of person I sort of think of off the top of my head, going like, well, people off the top of my head, I can imagine that I've kind of done that thing of jumping around different stations, going, we're going to take the show here, we're going to take the show here. But it's to an extent, it's like an audio version to an extent of like a traveling show to an extent.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Right then, running through the chat, out to Luke Parker joining us this morning, saying, "Morning, Kovu. Looking forward to the N-Type interview." So am I, my friend. I'm giggling like a 16-year-old child, looking forward to that one because it's going to be an inspirational one. So kind of moving forward then, let's jump into another banger. Now, the thing I love about the tracks you've sent over is there is quite a lot of variation within them. So we're going to get into this one next from is it Top Cat Collective?
Which one's this?
Am I looking at the right tunes here? I may have got... No, it's my fault. I've clicked the wrong ones. There we go. In Lensman with I Am DDB.
Oh, okay, yeah. This is a good one.
So, yeah, this one goes by the name of In My Mind, and this one is Break's dubbed out mix. So talk to me about this one.
So this was released on the Quarter to Quarter compilation, and it's basically a bunch of artists and producers from Manchester, mainly around drum and bass. I actually don't mix drum and bass myself, but it's definitely a genre that I love listening to and I kind of grew up listening to as well. So this features all Manchester artists. This one's Lensman with I Am DDB. I'm sure everyone knows who I Am DDB is, but this is like the dubbed out mix. So they have like a normal breaks mix, and then this is the dubbed out one, which I much prefer, just so I can play it out as well. So I'm sure you'll enjoy this one.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get into this one now. Don't go anywhere, my friends. As I said before, throw a like on the video. If it's your first time locking in, please do hit that subscribe button. It makes a massive difference to the channel. We're aiming to hit 700 by Sunday, so we're growing. We're really pushing it with this one, and we're on about, I think we're on 650 at the moment, so we can do it, people. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked. It's Brekky In The Cave here on Cubcam TV and Trickstar Radio. Freshta joins us this morning.
In my mind you try to hide away. I cannot get away, slipping through my memory, slipping through my memory. Money, gold, yeah, feel it in my soul, yeah, running all night long, yeah, feeling in control, yeah, money, gold, yeah, feel it in my soul, yeah, running all night long, yeah, feeling in control, yeah, 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 yeah. Came through in a ride, come through in a whip. Excursions with my dogs, bookings flying in. Dipped you in my soul, gave you some advice. Now we making money, now these living right. Passing by, leaving all the past behind. I'll keep it G, of course. Money, gold, yeah, feel it in my soul, yeah, running all night long, yeah, feeling in control, yeah, money, gold, yeah, feel it in my soul, yeah, running all night long, yeah, feeling in control. Do you mind if I call your name? Your name? 'Cause I've got to do something to have you by my side forever, all the time. Money,
Right then, my friends, we're back inside the building. That one coming to us from Lensman and IMDDB. In my mind, that one is the Breaks dubbed out mix. Really cool tune. Out to WT4Y saying such a nice voice, man. And Grace Lee in the chat saying keep it G at all times. I agree with you. So, moving forward then, we've got a few minutes left of this one before we jump into the next interview of the day. It's been really fun to talk so far, I've got to say. So what we're going to do is kind of look to the future. Then obviously we're going to be talking post-COVID. Like what are your plans moving forward?
I think once this pandemic is actually over, I do want to kind of focus more on like radio and what I was doing with my radio shows. Before COVID, I kind of was doing this kind of series where I would link up like an old school MC with a new gen MC and put them on a set together and make them go bar for bar, which I really, really enjoyed. The last person I had was Killer P and Joe So Sick, and I really want to just do more of that. I've got so many ideas in my head. Before COVID, I was meant to do Novelist and Kish, but that obviously got cancelled because NTS had to close.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's exactly the sort of thing that I think people, especially now, with this, just in general with the way things are laid out, I think people are very much into this idea of kind of blending old and new. I think it's something that's become so relevant.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is needed as well. There's a lot of kind of stigma and stereotypes around, new gen MCs, like they're ruining grime, etc. But I think this is like a good way of kind of like balancing it all out. So I definitely want to do more of that once radio stations actually open. And then obviously get back into clubs as well. I mean, I just don't know if clubs will actually be open for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I know that some places are kind of like making little bars and like doing outdoor area stuff. So we'll see what will come up, but I'm excited to kind of just jump on a set and also like have the usual MCs that I have on a set as well. Like it's just, I miss like having that time.
Yeah, and it's something we all miss as well. And I think I've said this before on this show. I think more than anything else, people are looking forward to raving more than anything else. Yeah. And I think there's a difference in us. Like I've seen the images of socially distanced raves and stuff, and they just don't look like they'd feel the same.
Yeah, they won't. Definitely not.
Like, because the idea of a dance is literally that it's almost quite tribal in a way. You're all facing the same way. You're all dancing to the same thing. Whereas if you're all spread out, it just feels like the club hasn't filled out properly. Yeah, I don't know. It's not for me. Not for me.
I'm quite interested though because Lucy and Sherelle are throwing a part. Well, I don't know if they're throwing it. I think they're playing. They're headlining. And they're playing it in Brixton Courtyard, and I think it's like an evening thing, but they've managed to kind of make it like a bar/club, but you have to buy tickets of groups of 6. So I'm interested to see how that will actually work out and how many people are actually going to be there and if it's actually socially distanced.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think with those scenarios as well, in theory they can work nicely, but then as soon as you actually get the logistics of people queuing up at bars and all those things there, I think it's quite easy. Yeah, it's quite easy for it to kind of dissipate and the socially distanced element of it kind of disappear. But it'll be interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
I think as well we'll start seeing people. We've already seen people getting very creative, but I think now as stuff starts to become a little bit more available, people's heads are just full of creative ideas. So we're going to start seeing those come into action now, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see what people have to offer.
Definitely. Okay, cool. Well, we've nearly run out of time. So again, I want to say thanks for coming on this morning. It's been great fun having you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. So, in regards to social media and stuff like that, what's the best place for people to get hold of you?
Probably Instagram and Twitter. So my Instagram is @_Freshta, and then Twitter is @__Freshta.
Lovely stuff. Wicked. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into one more tune before we finish up this and move into a conversation with man like Lacey. Talk me through this one. It goes by the name of Spice Blend. We think it goes by the name of Spice Blend. We're not entirely sure.
Spice Blend by Manara.
By Manara, yeah.
So basically, this is a very random song, but I just really wanted people to hear it if they haven't heard it before. So Manara is honestly one of the best DJs in London. If you have seen her live, you'll know why. She is so sick, and honestly, go watch her Boiler Room or something like that and you'll realise why. But she released a compilation basically full of tunes that are flips of South Asian music, and mostly like Bollywood tunes that are flipped. And there's so many producers included on there, and this is one of her flips, and it's basically a really classic Bollywood tune mixed with the grime instrumental, and I really love it, so I hope you guys will like it too.
Awesome.
But, you can get this out on her Bandcamp now, and all the proceeds go to a charity, so it's worth copping.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on again. Thanks for bringing such bangers through as well. And yeah, we'll speak soon. Obviously, stay in contact. Best of luck with stuff moving forward, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Hey dola re dola re dola re dola. Hey dola re.
Massive shouts out to Freshta. We're going to be getting into a chat with Lacey in just a second. Keep it locked. This is a madness, you know. To BL saying loving the Devdas sample on this one. This is cold. Let's go straight in the bag. My word, what a tune that one is. Manara with the Spice Blend. That one is out now on her Bandcamp, I believe, so go and grab it. We're moving into our second guest of the day. First of all, massive shouts out to Freshta for joining us this morning. Really interesting chat. Obviously, with these shows, if you aren't able to look back via YouTube for whatever reason, or you just want to listen to something on the go, you can check them out via the podcast, as you can see in the top right-hand corner of the screen. We are available on Spotify, Apple Music, and SoundCloud. All you need to do is search Breakfast with KXVU, the interviews, and they are all there. The music gets taken out, and it just becomes a nice long-form conversation. Of course, hit that subscribe button if it's your first time locking in, and of course throw a like on the video as well. Makes a massive difference. We are joined by a man like Lacey in the building. How are you doing, my good sir?
Yo, good bro, what are you saying? You good?
I'm good. You're getting glass smashes, you're getting explosions, you're getting all the good stuff. because I'm excited this morning. I really am. It's been a good show so far, and it's about to get even better. So, how are you doing? How's life, sir? How's life?
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm not too bad still. Yeah, large at Freshta each and every as well. Yeah, it was a really interesting interview. But yeah, I'm good, man. I'm just just chilling, just like doing bits and bobs, that sort of thing.
That's what I like to see. Now, with yourself, obviously, I find a lot of the time you're similar to me in an extent where a lot of the time you'll find yourself as the one delivering the interviews or doing the articles rather than being on the other side of things. So I'm really excited to kind of hear your opinions on things, or like kind of break a few things down, and kind of look through like what you've kind of got bubbling, because you're a busy guy, aren't you?
Yeah, kind of, I guess. So yeah, what do I do? So basically, I'm a DJ first and foremost for the crew Over the Edge, with Razor, Cabs, J River, Index, and Reaps, and Chowman. So that's kind of like my main thing in the grime world. I've been on Mode for a few years. So I DJ for them. I play keys in a band. And I also like write about grime as well. So I write about grime for like Red Bull, write about Complex, and I write academically as well. So it's all this sort of thing. So basically I'm a writer, a keys player, and a DJ.
Amazing.
And it's sort of all interweave.
It's sick though. I mean, like with those three things again. It's a similar question how I asked to Freshta, but I want to kind of ask you as well. Like, how do you find the balancing of stuff? Because obviously the written side of things, I would presume, is quite like because you tend to go from my experience anyway. It tends to be quite sort of long form articles that you come with.
Yeah, so I basically I sort of pick and choose what I want to write, really. So I always sort of do, if there's something I think is really interesting, I'll pitch it and I'll write something long form, because I kind of my main day job is like lecturing and research. So I have to choose something I really want to do and I'm really interested in. So that's kind of how that goes, really. And so for the Red Bull stuff, like when I was starting to write for Red Bull, the first thing I did was look to like sort of the clash between Wiley and Stormzy. And the sort of history of that, but also was looking at like Australian grime as well. And so I went out to Australia in January and sort of like hung out with people in the scene and that sort of thing. So I thought there was a project there I wanted to write about that. So that's kind of it, sort of stimulated by what I'm interested in, I guess.
Okay, I mean that's mad. I mean, it sounds like, I mean, a lot of the time with written content now, a lot of the stuff we'll see, and this is something I'm guilty of myself, obviously. Like, it's written obviously by people who are literally sat in their rooms, have read a few other bits, and they basically kind of look at something and switch things around into their own words to an extent. But with yourself, it sounds like, obviously being a lecturer as well, it sounds like you are someone that really will go out and find the information for yourself.
Yeah, I don't paraphrase other people. That is not my thing. That's not my bag. People do it to me, but I don't do it to them.
Oh, there we go. I mean, let's kind of go back to the sort of beginning then with yourself, because obviously it sounds like, again, you're from quite like a, I don't want to say academic background, but like a lot of the influences you have obviously are quite academic, being in that sort of more lecturing kind of written side of things. So how did you kind of find yourself working in grime?
I guess so. I was always into like radio. I listened to a lot of radio when I was growing up. I listened to sets, that sort of thing. I was always really passionate about it. I moved to London in like 2010. I think 2010. So basically I was doing a maths degree and I dropped out to do music. So I moved to London. And then straight away I started trying to get involved with radio and that. So I started helping out with Deja but when Grimy Mondays was a big thing. So like when we had Spooky, DOK, D-Power all in the Monday. So I was sort of helping out with their events, that sort of side of things. And it kind of just grew from there, really. I was always just about doing bits and bobs. And then I guess I started properly with Ernest again, you know, I say like sort of like the mid-2010s, when I really just sort of found a radio show and sort of built up from there. But I mean, I started late. I started like a graveyard shift. I was out on Tuesdays from like 12 till 2 on Deja. And then I moved to student radio, and then I moved to Don City, and then I moved to Mode. So it's kind of a long process. But yeah, I've always been involved in grime, like radio as well. Just because, yeah, radio is the lifeblood of the scene, really.
Definitely,
so, yeah.
I'd agree with that, and it's sick to see as well. And I think something about yourself that's become very, very apparent. I think if you were to almost describe kind of like a superpower, I think it's everyone has their like USP, and I feel for yourself it is, and this is what other people tell me as well. It's very much the kind of knowledge of what you're playing more than anything else.
Yeah, I think like a curatorial role is really important. I kind of think it's important to know where the music's coming from, where it's made, who's produced it, and yeah, their influences, just so you can kind of get a wider contextual framework for what you're actually doing. I guess that's kind of important, really. Yeah, I don't just want to play stuff I play stuff because it sounds good, obviously, but I'm always interested in more of the context behind it. Yeah. I don't see it just as a tune in an inbox. I see it as like someone's crafted this thing, and yeah, it should be worth looking at.
Definitely, I agree with that, and I think that's what I think. all DJs, in my opinion, should have a USP. Be that like a super specific style of DJing, be it the guests they bring on, be it their information about what they're playing. And I like the fact that you're someone who very much knows. I love that, just talking to people that know what they're talking about more than anything else.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just the sort of the researcher in me. You know, that's kind of like, that's always the main thing for me. It's like, yeah, I'm not like a grand mixer, or I'm not known for like that side of performance style of things. I guess really I can chop it up and all if I need to. But I guess, yeah, it's more about just like, knowing my shit, really. Yeah,
I agree with you. I agree, and it's sick to see. So, what we're going to do, first of all, is get into a new track from Razor, which is one of the ones you've sent over to play this morning. We're going to talk about Over the Edge afterwards, but basically, before we get into it, describe this tune to me very quickly. This one goes by the name of Lemsip.
So this tune is sick. That's basically it. Razor's coming with a whole bag of new stuff. He literally released a new EP, new album, like the Sharp one, a few months back, and he's already got new stuff on the way. This one's called Lemsip, and it's cold. Yeah.
Awesome. Right, let's get into this one then. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're live on the line with Lacey this morning, and we are going to be talking Over the Edge next. Keep it locked.
I made a drink out of packet, that's Lemsip. The talk that you're talking, I don't recommend it. Fuck knows who started the war, but I'll end it. I don't do pretend shit, I keep it authentic. Hungry and my taste is getting expensive. Trying to put both hands to play like a dentist. You see when I said what I said, man, I meant it. I don't do pretend shit, I keep it authentic. My see a man run the Olympics. Hopped out something that's tinted. Caught for the mic man, hype man a witness. Back and I'm moving ridiculous. Back and I'm moving outrageous. Done had crud for the road, but now I got sauce for the playlist. Ain't make a crowd go ape shit. Track put a hand on a mic, I'll break it. Got a show with your name on. You ain't had an enemy like me before, and trust me, you don't wanna make one. If you've got a pill that I help you to chill, then blood I suggest that you take one. Got stabbed in my back on a snake one. Now I'm nice for what, no Drake song. No new friends unless so fake ones. I made a drink out of packet, that's Lemsip. The talk that you're talking, I don't recommend it. Fuck knows who started the war, but I'll end it. I don't do pretend shit, I keep it authentic. Hungry and my taste is getting expensive. Trying to put both hands to play like a dentist. You see when I said what I said, man, I meant it. I don't do pretend shit, I keep it authentic. Don't get him mistaken, he's not road, he was to the side at best. In fact, you could say he was pavement. He's not bro, but he was trying to slide on sex. Begging relation, they watch what I do, I don't blame them. Imitation ain't gonna save them. It's a post-grad flow when you lack education. Niggas wanna act like I hate them, I don't even rate them, I don't even see them about. In fact, if you do, then give me a shout. If I can't call my mum my house if I clout, then why would I change for you? If my lift still stinks of piss, then bruv, what the fuck is a watch or a chain gon' do? If I see you as prey, can I pray for you? I made a drink out of packet, that's Lemsip. The talk that you're talking, I don't recommend it. Fuck knows who started the war, but I'll end it. I don't do pretend shit, I keep it authentic.
Right then, my friends, we're back inside the building. Out to WT4Y joining us in the chat this morning. Out to Purple Moon as well. If you are locked in, please do send us a chat message. Let us know where you're locked in from. If you're enjoying the show or not, of course. And, of course, throw a like on the video. Let's get some conversation popping this morning. My friends, Lacey is in the building. Well, he's in the building via my phone, so that pretty much does the same thing. Out to man like Hamdi as well. How are you doing, sir? Let's kind of crack on then and talk Over the Edge, because obviously this is how I was introduced into your stuff and introduced yourself. Like, how long have you been working with Over the Edge?
So I can't actually remember it. I think it's been about three years or so. So basically, I started a show on Don City, which is a station which is based in Hackney, fairly low key, like a few years ago. And like I heard Razor's Act Like You Know. That's what it was. I heard that tune and I was like, I need this tune. So I got in contact with the producer and was like, yeah, we need to get hold of this. And then Razor's passed through my show with the producer at the time, Doughty, and then basically just hit off, started doing loads of sets. Like I had a weekly show, so like he'll come through every week with Reaps as well. And then there was a set I think with Index came through too. and that was kind of like the starting point for like properly joining the crew.
Wicked, man. Like,
it's been about 3 years or so, yeah.
I mean, how have you found it? Like, obviously, that on top of everything else. Like, have you enjoyed like the show side of things?
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and it's kind of like I kind of see it as like, yeah, I say whenever people are like, what do you do? It's, oh yeah, I DJ for Over the Edge. So it's kind of like the first and foremost thing I'll say. So that's kind of. I've really enjoyed it, and it's just sick. It's just sick working, and that's what it's nice about it, is actually working for an extended period with the same set of MCs.
Yeah, I feel that.
Because before that, it's sort of like I'd have guests on each week, but we rotating roster of guests, but actually being able to start to develop styles, and like when I was mixing a lot with Index, like we get into a lot of patterns and back-to-backs, and that was sick as well. So you just sort of be able to develop as a group is something which I really value.
Yeah,
that's what you're able to do in this sort of setup. Yeah,
definitely, man. That sounds awesome. And again, it's that idea of kind of being on the come up together as well. And I feel with Over the Edge as a crew, it's actually such a varied kind of group of styles and people. Like, even DJ wise, I'd say you and Index are quite different when it comes to your like approach to DJing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Index is a sick producer as well, larger Index each and every. But like, yeah, he's sort of like more on the sort of like choppy R&G. He's from Kenyan sound as well, so he's got that vibe going. And I guess I kind of sort of play, I don't know, like not like dubstepy style stuff, but like sort of more like darker instrumentals and that sort of thing. And we kind of coalesce at different points, so it's quite nice to have these sort of worked out transitions into a lot faster passages and more meditative passages. And so it's kind of interesting when we do interact like that, because it's kind of like a negotiation. It's like a conversation, basically.
Yeah.
Between two different people's selections.
Yeah, that's sick, man. I mean, and that's those sort of mixes and blends, I think, are what make radio interesting. And I think it's what makes the whole setup with Over the Edge interesting again, because obviously you've got people like Shower, you've got people like Razor in there as well, who then it's just such like a different mix and blend of approaches and styles. And I think that's what makes interesting stuff. When you look at any of the kind of bigger crews that have happened in grime, you look at a Movement, you look at a Roll Deep, you look at an OGs, everyone's got, you don't have like lots of the same person stacked up and up and up. You've got loads of different people in everyone.
Oh yeah, completely. I always think about Roll Deep and how versatile they were as a crew in terms of like the DJs, like each DJ, like Carnage, Target, different styles, production styles, Danny Weeds as well, and Wiley. Everything they had was different. Like, and every MC had a character as well, which is kind of what I think is really, really important, and what we sort of value, I guess, really. Everyone's got their own sort of little niche or style, like thematically, be it thematically, lyrically, or be it just like in terms of their flow pattern and stuff. Everyone's kind of distinct. And that's kind of what I think Ray was crafting in his sort of little mastermind. You know?
I mean, it's been sick to watch, and obviously being a lot of the stuff with obviously Ray, I do a lot of the mixing and mastering for him, and it's obviously sick to see, and obviously this tune is a good example of that. And it's good to see just how much just more than anything else, just the activity of everyone as well, because obviously Showerman's involved as well. Like how do you feel about his year? So his last 18 months more than anything else.
Chow is sick. His come up is crazy. Like, so I remember him just like, because every now and then you sort of just get emails come through from MCs, and you get a lot of like press releases and that, and then I kept getting stuff from him, and I was like, I need to check on this, and then I realised like I think I sort of deep the levels, and then he's just, his output is so like ridiculously on point. Like, he did an EP like for start last year. And then he's just come out with another EP called The Next Chapter, which has got loads of features on it. It's got like Dutchy Lamau, he's Cold, Joe Fire, all these sort of people. And his singles as well. His singles game is ridiculous, like, and videos as well. So yeah, he's got everything. He's got the whole package, and he's really like funny as well. He's like got a real sort of like comedic element to his MCing, which I think is something again which is kind of lost.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, how important do you think having that having that level of personality more than anything else is in today's scene, especially?
Oh yeah, completely. He's got the personality. That's the thing. First and foremost, you see that. You know, he's got the personality, but he's also got the bars, and he's also got the delivery. So yeah, I think he's going to do so well. So it's really exciting to have him part of the crew. It's been about a year now. It's been involved. So yeah,
awesome, man. I mean, it's sick to see. And like with Over the Edge, then like what's kind of on the way plans wise that you're aware of? Like, is there anything you can throw our way?
There are things bubbling, yeah. So I've got a mix with Race coming soon, sort of like an Over the Edge vocals mix, which will be coming up this weekend on Represent. I think I can say that. I think I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah.
2 till 4. And then there's loads of other bits and bobs. Lots of like, I think we're starting to get some crew stuff together, which is taking some time, and we're just all working on the same plane again. Like, this is really nice. Like, we sort of caught up recently. in a socially distanced way, and like, yeah, it just feels like we're on the same playing field. We're going to be pushing forwards to doing all sorts of exciting new things.
Awesome.
So, yeah, there's lots to look out for. Yeah.
Wicked, man. I'm looking forward to it. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into track number 2 of 3 of today's selection, which I'm really looking forward to getting into. It's a tune we did actually review on Fresh Fridays last week. Now, this one goes by the name of Amy. It's from Shower Man. Talk to me about this one.
Yes, this is Chower's brand new single entitled Amy. It kind of sort of summarises his style, really. It's just this sort of really sort of like cheeky chappy sort of thing. Production is cold as well, and yeah, it's just really fun. This is sick.
There we go. Good stuff. Right then, friends, don't go anywhere. Keep it looked. If you are looking in for the first time, I'm going to say it again. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We are on the route to... We want to hit 700 by the end of the week. We're pushing the boat out this week. I think we've hit 650 this morning. So if you are locked in, throw a subscription on the channel. Out to man like Shower Man in the chat, actually, saying, if my lift still stinks of piss, what's your chain going to do? And that, I believe that is a razor bar, and I've read that out atrociously, but there we go. Out to J River as well, saying this one bangs hard. Keep it locked, my friends. Throw a like on the video, hit subscribe. Let's do it.
Yo, listen. Sipping on wine, no Amy. Painting calling me baby. Vision all blurry, man are too wavy. Satin like navy, won't let weigh me. Hey, everybody know that I do this. Proofs in a pudding, I ain't gotta prove it. Doing it bare, sound like nudist. Sipping on wine, no Amy. Painting calling me baby. Vision all blurry, man are too wavy. Satin like navy, won't let weigh me. Hey, everybody know that I do this. Proofs in a pudding, I ain't gotta prove it. Doing it bare, sound like nudist. Rap for knack, rasta habits out. Confident geese, got a chapter back it. I won't act dramatic. Clap the mag, don't carry no poets, no acrobats. I love all type of girls that chat the maddest. Bringing man beef like a fat kebabbing. Changing a tune like a track from Travis. Had a bad dynamic, I was glad to sack it like. Used to play not Dan Ginge. Now it's hit things to the rave and an all black Tims. Wavy otherworldly like Sims. Am I celebrating life? Am I drowning my sins? Little man cool it a binge. Stepping in my crep that swings outside of the bins. Next thing you know, some of I'm half Indian fist coming straight for both of your chins. Knocking down doors so they ain't got hinge. Keeping it moving while them man whinge. Man waste all of their money on drip when it could have been a landlord something like gigs. Sipping on wine, no Amy. Painting calling me baby. Vision all blurry, man are too wavy. Satin like navy, won't let weigh me. Hey, everybody know that I do this. Proofs in a pudding, I ain't gotta prove it. Doing it bare, sound like nudist. Sipping on wine, no Amy. Painting calling me baby. Vision all blurry, man are too wavy. Satin like navy, won't let weigh me. Hey, everybody know that I do this. Proofs in a pudding, I ain't gotta prove it. Doing it bare, sound like nudist. Can't play a man like a CD. But then tell my lungs all wheezy. I was out late night sipping a Bellini. Getting with a Chris Brown ting, no breezy. She be like, chat, how you get so steezy. For the north, for the east, so I'm geezy. Don't know a thing about plumbing. Coming, sorting a pipe, then I'm leaving a leaky. I don't know her, but I might make a move. Curls in her hair, perk on her boobs. Forbidden fruit, want a little chew. I love the way she phrasing her view. Cup full of Morgan, cup full of juice. Pouring my heart out, spilling up booze. Messing up sheets, filling up Zeus. Giving it a poking, giving her twos. She can do road, she can do booze. Piffing out alleyway, dinner in suit. I was out late night till about 2. Then we romped all night to the light of the moon. Sipping on wine, no Amy. Painting calling me baby. Vision all blurry, man are too wavy. Satin like navy, won't let weigh me. Hey, everybody know that I do this. Proofs in a pudding, I ain't gotta prove it. Doing it bare, sound like nudist. Sipping on wine, no Amy. Painting calling me baby. Vision all blurry, man are too wavy. Satin like navy, won't let weigh me. Hey, everybody know that I do this. Proofs in a pudding, I ain't gotta prove it. Doing it bare, sound like nudist.
Right then, friends, we're inside the building. Out to J River, out to Hamdi in the chat as well, out to WT4Y each and every time. Out to everyone commenting. Keep the comments coming in, guys. It does make a huge difference, and it's good to hear from you all as well. So we've got Lacey in the building. We're going to move into the final section of this one. Kind of looking again at the sort of written side of things I want to touch on. In regards to articles then, is there anything you've kind of got in the works that you're kind of looking to do?
Yeah, so I've actually got it's an academic piece, but I promise it's interesting. Coming out this week, there's a new journal called Global Hip Hop Studies, which is dropping. I think it's tomorrow, actually. Yeah. So it's a brand new journal which is looking at hip hop and from all over the world. So this is kind of built up of the Australian grime stuff I was doing. So I'm looking at I'm looking at grime on the east coast of Australia and how it's sort of been impacted by UK practice, and how things like YouTube videos and like tape hacks and things like that have kind of influenced how people conceive of like legitimate practice in grime. So yeah, that's coming out. That's sort of like a long read. That's like sort of 5,000 words. And it's open access as well, so everyone can read it, which I think is really important because a lot of academic stuff kind of gets hidden behind paywalls.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's open access, and there's pictures in that as well. And yeah, I'm just sort of planning a few other bits moving forward as well, which may or may not appear in certain magazines. I'm not entirely sure yet.
Really?
And I'm also preparing a book as well, but I'm keeping that low key at the moment.
I mean, even that just as a concept is huge. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. And more than anything else, what I'm loving about this is it just feels like you are someone who is very purposefully busy. If you know what I mean, it feels like you're putting your mind to stuff and just cracking on with it.
Yeah. I have to be busy because if I'm not busy, I don't know what to do with myself. Kind of like you know, it's like just you keep active, you get things done, and it kind of motivates me to do more stuff.
Yeah.
On Sunday I had nothing to do and I was just confused. I didn't know what was going on.
It's horrible, isn't it? I don't understand how people do it. And I'll be honest here. I've had it before where I've kind of been sat here with no blurbs to write, no copies to do, no bits of artwork to finish up, and I know I won't have anything to do till the next day. And I'm just kind of sat here I don't like this. It's not nice. How do people deal with it?
Yeah, you just make more things to do.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah.
Fully. Okay, cool. Well, we've got a couple of minutes left, and we've got one more tune to play before we finish up, which is something new from yourself. But before that, I do want to kind of give this all a bit of kind of like a roundup. Then, obviously, with yourself being someone who very much has their ears to the ground and their eyes on the scene, and is very much in the know with what's going on. Outside of Over the Edge, who are the people we should be keeping an eye on?
Oh, that's a good question. People, in terms of grime?
In terms of everything, I'd say.
I'd say in terms of adjacent, like grime adjacent and stuff like 237, I think we should be looking out for. So Kish, I think Freshta mentioned Kish earlier, and Rada as well. They're really exciting, doing some great stuff. Big Nate, he's got some new bits coming. He's also got a new, there's some new stuff coming from Big Nate, which is good to watch out for. But they're the kind of people I'm checking for at the moment. Really, is 237.
Okay.
That's what I'd recommend in terms of the UK scene. Yeah.
Awesome, wicked. Well, I'm looking forward to checking them out then. Okay, cool. Out to Imogen in the chat as well. You subscribed earlier. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. So with yourself then, what else is on the way? Because I know I'm sure there's a couple of bits that we haven't touched on here, and I don't want to miss anything. So yeah, what else is on the way for yourself?
So yesterday, a brand new vinyl mix dropped. So you can check that out on Grimy Mondays. So that's run by Rance. So yeah, I did like a sort of proper old school vinyl mix with skipping needles and all that sort of thing. But I managed to make it into something cohesive. So check that out. That's on the Grimy Mondays. And then this weekend, Razor's Represent show. I've got a guest mix on there. It's from 2 till 4 during the day. So he's got a really fucking exciting show lined up for that. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, just the global hip hop thing, which is coming through, and then just bits and bobs. Things will come through, but the main thing is that vinyl mix. And new projects as well.
Awesome, man. Well, it's been genuinely really, really good to talk to you this morning, man. I mean, just to kind of round things off then, what's your kind of, how have you found lockdown? Because I forgot to ask it at the start of the show.
It's been alright, yeah. I was in California for like 3 months, and then I had to come back because of the COVID complications. So it was very strange. I moved there and we went straight into lockdown. So that was really weird. But yeah, it's okay now. I'm sort of in a position where I'm doing lots of music. Like, I've got Dex back. I didn't have Dex for 3 months. So having that is a blessing. And yeah, it's been a strange, interesting, humbling sort of period, I guess, really. And it's given me time to reconnect with family as well, which is nice.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad I'm glad it hasn't been that much of a negative for your kind of personal settings as well, which is good.
Yeah, it's not been too bad. Yeah, it's not. My girlfriend's in Oakland, so that's kind of a a but yeah, that's all right.
Of course. Well, there's always a madness to throw in as we finish up. Okay, cool. We've got one more track to play. Now this one comes to us from I accidentally nearly played this earlier, but I didn't when we've called it. So this one is it Top Cat Collective?
Oh yeah, so yeah, this is my band. So I'm in a 6-piece funk and hip hop band, and yeah, this tune is sick. It's got 2 really promising, really great MCs on there, called Lemsey, he's from Leytonstone, Braceman, he's also from East as well. I think he's more sort of out towards Essex way. And yeah, we sort of just did a tune together last year, and it came out. And yeah, I just wanted to showcase that side of things as well.
Awesome, man. Well, we're going to finish up with this one. Lacey, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show this morning. I've really enjoyed it. I've loved listening to kind of your opinions on things and getting to understand more about what you do, which is always fun to do. Don't be a stranger, of course. Let me know when you've got anything popping, and we'll obviously share it around on the show.
Will do, yeah. Thanks so much for having me again, bro. I really appreciate it. Like, what you're doing with this show is sick, so, yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the kind words, sir. We're going to finish up now. This one, Top Cat Collective, featuring Lemsy and Braceman. This one going by the name of Is it PNGZ?
It's Pengs.
Pengs, there we go, yeah. Okay. I'm dreadful with reading stuff out, which isn't good in my job, but there we go. Keep it locked, my friends, and we'll be on the line with N-Type in around 4 minutes or so. So, yes.
Sus that your vibes, so the lust in your eyes. A bunch of the nights in our late sessions, we were brethren, but no question, you could cut the tension, not to mention we were blending all our creativity. Hours turned to minutes in this vicinity. Any pictures I was spitting, yeah, you saw them vividly. When he mixed it, brought gifts like a nativity, but no babies in the manger. We were strangers just a week ago. It's been a week or so. Now I don't know how to speak or show that everything is calm. I know that night was an error, but I don't remember one that felt any better. And I ain't the type of guy to show birds where to flock at. Never share before, and I ain't on that. And I know your wedding fingers got a band just like Top Cat, but whatever it's representing, I know that I could top that, yeah.
When you know it's really not okay, but you know you're gonna have it anyway. When you know it's really not okay, but you know you're gonna have it anyway. And deal with that later. You're gonna deal with that later. When you know it's really not okay, but you know you're gonna have it anyway. When you know it's really not okay.
Right then, we're jumping onto the line with N-Type in just a second. Out to man like Lacey and of course Freshta as well for jumping on the show so far. It's about to get even better.
About that time again, bad intentions in my mind, but then I don't really feel that bad about it. It's street furniture, I'm steering clear round about it. I'm at a junction, I could go right and be a man about it, but I lean left, it's like my primary function. Thoughts of the ride, I'm breathing them in, it's like consumption or TB. I'm drowning in Hershey's buxom, Pandora's box, and a whole heap of things have opened up. They never mentioned us when I was growing up. Now it's blowing up and I'm still showing up, sure enough. The foundation ain't sure enough. I wanna tell her leave, but I won't call my bluff. What we have is deep, but we ain't meant for love. I wanna tell her leave, but I won't call my bluff. I wanna tell her leave.
Right then, my friends, a massive shouts out to Lacey for passing through for the last half an hour or so, and of course Freshta before that. We're now moving on to our final guest of the day. Certainly something I've been looking forward to doing for a long period of time, and I mean years when I say that in regards to this interview. Man like N-Type is in the building. How are you doing, sir?
Hello, Colonel. How's it going?
I'm good, sir. I'm good. I'm buzzing to have you on the show today. I can't lie. This is one of those ones where it's like where it's been like years in the making more than anything else for me. Purely because more than anything else, I remember actually meeting you. I think it was about 8 years ago now. Outside the Volks, and I actually handed you a CD. That's how long ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is all a bit of a madness. So first of all, how are you, sir? How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah. How's it going? I like what you're doing with your show, man. It's good.
Thank you, sir. Well, that's a massive compliment coming from yourself. Like, I think in regards to shows, obviously, I've discussed this earlier on. I think this is in regards to if we're talking sort of impactful UK music shows. Let's start off here in this discussion, like talking through that original N-Type Rinse show, like kind of taking it back to there to begin with. Like, first of all, how did that show first come together?
Well, I started Pirate Radio on Delight FM. That was my original pirate radio station. But before that, I did a couple of little like legal things. There was I was basically selling CDs in Croydon in all the record shops, like Big Apple, Swag, and it was me and Walsh, another DJ, and we were doing this like back-to-back thing together. And we were giving these CDs in, people were buying them. They were going out like hotcakes, to be fair. It was in the garage days. And basically they said, do you want to do a Big Apple Records show on a station just out of... It was in Surrey, it was in Merstham. I can't even remember what it was called now. But we started doing a few shows on there, the Big Apple show, just to basically promote the shop and get people coming from, you know, outside the Croydon area. And then we were doing that for a little bit. And then John from Apple was like, the guy from Delight FM, who was linked up with Soul Solid crew and all of those guys, he was like, he'd been coming in the shop and bringing in the Soul Solid music and all that. And he was like, yeah, they're looking for more DJs. So John actually gave our CD to them, and then they got us doing a drive time show on Delight FM. So we did that for a good while. At one point they asked us to do every day, but it was up in Battersea, so it was a bit of a mission.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trek, I've got to say.
Yeah, well, I was living down in Reigate at the time, so it was a bit of a mission. So like we started doing that, and then we were doing a back-to-back show for a while, and then we split up to do our own shows. And that's really when my show kind of changed to what it kind of is today as such. And what happened was I was on Delight for about 5 years, and then the DTI just kept coming and taking the aerial down. There was a lot of problems that kept coming. I think with Soul Solid, they were getting a lot of heat as well in the media and all that sort of stuff. So I think the station just started getting, you know, it's got a lot of heat. So basically, sometimes I go up there and it was off, and then it was off for like small periods of time. And I just wanted to be on radio again. And then obviously I'd always been listening to Rinse from when I was driving around in London.
Of course.
And I actually hit up Rinse, and that's when I went over to Rinse. It was and Delight, to be fair, it didn't come back on in the end. So like I left at a time where it was kind of crucial, and luckily I got onto Rinse. Uncle Doug sorted me out, and Genius and that. And then once I got onto there, they were really good. Like Genius and his team were really good at like kind of like growing shows and growing people as DJs, and you know them not really helped me. So the show sort of grew from there, and now I've been on there for years. I think it's about 17 years this year.
Mad. I mean,
about that, yeah.
It's an absolute madness, man. And I think just to hear the story of how that show came together, and it being almost to an extent because another station was kind of going off air, that this whole thing's happened.
Yeah, basically. I mean, what I was doing on Delight FM was pretty much the same as what I was doing on Rinse when I was doing a weekly on Rinse. But it was just like, it just sort of elevated slightly as well. It was at a time where, you know, dubstep was like more and more people were getting into dubstep, and there was a guy who was recording the Rinse shows and putting them online so people could like around the world could listen to the show. And I think that was a key point as well, of, you know, people from like, you know, Europe and America and that could actually listen to the shows, and then it grew Rinse as a station as well. So like kind of dubstep grew with Rinse as it was blowing up worldwide.
Definitely.
So the sound kind of went worldwide at the same time, which was really cool for us.
Awesome, man. I mean, kind of.
Internet, really.
Yeah. I think this is something I remember doing as a punter. Essentially, is literally going onto that Rinse FM website and checking every single day to see if there was a new N-Type show, to see if there was a new, like all of these different shows at the time as well. I mean, I can't even remember thinking back, but there were a lot of them. There were a lot of the one. There was. It felt like almost there was a kind of a real listener loyalty to the podcast side of things.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, before that, there was a website called Bear Files, and they were the ones who were recording the shows from the radio, just like off of, you know, like recording it onto a TDK on a tape or whatever.
Like proper old school ways of doing it.
Yeah. And then they were putting the tapes online, so that really helped it grow as well. And then eventually Rinse did their own like online stuff as well. So it was like really at the birth of all these things. So it was the start of Rinse online. It was the start of, you know, people listening worldwide to radio shows that were like, you know, being played on a pirate radio station in London. So, you know, like dubstep definitely benefited from that, and the internet definitely helped dubstep. But you know, now it's mad because with the internet, it definitely speeds up, like you know, the longevity of a track or the longevity of a mix, because there's so much stuff out there now that a lot of people listen to stuff and they'll be listening to stuff for like a few weeks and then they're on to the next one straight away, on to the next tune, so it's actually sped up things. But when we were there, it was just like, oh mate, it really helped dubstep a lot.
Definitely, bro. And I mean, obviously with the show kind of growing into what it has now become, it has this kind of legendary status as a kind of like a cult show, like one of, it's similar to an extent of how, I'm trying to think of a good example of this. I remember Cameo Show being a really good way to discover new grime back in the day, like that sort of thing. Like there's certain shows that you can look to within genres to find like the newest and the best, similar to how Rodigan used to be as well on different stations. I felt that the N-Type show on Rinse always was that. Like, did you ever imagine that's what it would become?
Nah, do you know what? It's crazy because it even sounds crazy you saying that to me, because the thing is for me, I've just always done radio. I've always done, you know, like a pirate radio show, and I've always been like, naturally I always look for new tunes. Like, I just always want to, like, you know, find something new, to find something that, you know, really gets me, kind of thing. And it's always been a natural process for me. So doing radio is literally just a natural process. So it's great that it's got such a good following, and you know, I'm still here doing stuff today. But it was never really the plan. But like, it's just something I've always done. It's a part of me.
Definitely, man. Like, I think with it as well, and the growth that's obviously come off the back of it. Obviously, it's kind of turned, it's given you to an extent this, put you into this position where you have been able to kind of not solely because of that, obviously, but it's put you into a position where you are now have been able to kind of tour the world and see dubstep kind of grow worldwide. Like, where's the most bizarre place you've been where you've found the reception to be great?
Oh mate, like, it's crazy because, like, off the top of my head, I mean, when I was a kid, when my mum and dad, they used to love having like holidays in the UK, so we had like quite a lot of holidays in the UK, and then, like, you know, I think we had a holiday in the south of France or something like that. I didn't really travel that much, but then obviously as soon as like dubstep started popping off, and the DJ thing and the radio show started popping, I've seen so many places that I just would have never ever imagined to have ever seen, and it's just, I love it. I love touring, I love traveling, I love meeting people, and it's just like, for me, it's just, I always take it as a blessing. And it's, you know, there's some mad places that I've played. Like, I remember playing in like a bank vault in Berlin underground.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird because obviously they had a massive system in there, so it was like rattling all the cages. It was mental. So yeah, there was that. I mean, places where, like, you know, oh mate, Japan. When I first went to Japan, I didn't realise how big dubstep had got out there. Like, and you know, the club was amazing. A unit in Tokyo, it was just huge, and there was so many people there, and they were just so into dubstep, and it was like, wow, I didn't really realise we had so many Japanese listeners at the time. And then there was a lot of Japanese producers that come through. I mean, I remember, you know, Goth Trad was the first guy, and now you've got Carnage, you've got Day Zero. There's a lot of Japanese producers who are amazing. And you know, it was one of them ones where I'd get to some places, like Finland. I remember when I used to go and see the Clouds and that in Finland. Like, when I first got there, this is how, like, I didn't even realise. It was nice and hot in the UK. So this is when we was on Nokia phones and stuff. So I was nice and hot in the UK. I'd gone out there in my shorts and got there, and it was like minus like 15 or something. And it was snowing, and it was like deep snow. And I was like, I'm wearing shorts. What am I doing? But I just, like, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just loving every minute of it.
Of course.
You know, getting on planes and going places, and you know, some of the places I played, I'm like, I didn't realise they loved dubstep so much there. But it was like, it's ignorant to think that way, because, you know, it was a worldwide sound, and the internet, like I said earlier, was carrying it to places that, you know, I didn't realise that, you know, people were so into.
Oh, there we go. I think we may have lost him for a second. I'm going to bring him back quickly. Out to everyone locking in this morning. I'm just sat here listening, man. This is a fantastic chat. Let's crack on. I'm sure we'll be able to reconnect pretty quickly. We always get breaknicals this time in the morning. There we go. We're back inside the building.
Did you cut out?
Yeah, we cut out. We're all good, though. We're all good. We're still live.
I don't know where it cut.
It cut off just at the idea of just how big it had become worldwide. Oh, no. There we go. Are we here? Hello.
Yeah, South America place that I was by, like, the reception there.
Oh,
yeah, it was just amazing. Like, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello? Yeah, okay, yeah, sorry about that. It was just incredible. Like, it's ignorant to think, like, you know, I was going to places and I was just like, wow, look at this reception. But the thing was, you know, dubstep was growing massively and the internet was taking it to places where, you know, like, I didn't know that they would be into that, but it was a worldwide sound and it was growing. So, you know, there's been some crazy receptions all over the place. Like, South America was amazing as well. Because, like, you know, you get a lot of people locking into the radio shows and they text and they tweet and they say, hey, we're locked in, you know, Germany, we're locked in Belgium, we're locked in all these places. But then there was places that I never used to see. And then when you get there, there'd be like a good 500 people in a dance. It was crazy, like.
Yeah, madness, man. I mean, to kind of be there to witness, to witness essentially the entire history of the genre for one, and kind of be involved with it for the vast majority of that period of time. And this is going to be a very difficult question to answer off the top of the head, I can imagine. But is there kind of one show where you kind of think back and go, that was a turning point?
What one of my shows?
One of your shows, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, that is hard to answer. But I think I definitely noticed a difference when Marianne Hobbs did the Dubstep Wars shows, because like I was actually away in America on tour when the first one came out, but she actually hit me up and was like, yeah, can you give us a quote for the show? We're putting together a Dubstep Wars show, and Scream, and because Scream, I don't know if Scream had a radio show on Rinse at that time, but he was another one who had a big radio show on Rinse FM that was really pushing out, like, you know, fresh new sounds, and he was playing a lot of his new music, and what a sick producer he was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, like he had a wicked show on Rinse, and I think at the time, the Dubstep Wars, what Marianne Hobbs did, definitely was a turning point. That, to me, it was going to Radio 1, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the time where we'd all been, you know, having our tunes played on people's shows on various stations, Radio 1, Kiss 100, but there'd never been a focused show. So when Marianne Hobbs did the Dubstep Wars show, that was definitely a key point.
Yeah, I feel
and then did a second one as well, and yeah, that was just amazing. And I remember her saying to me, she was going to go away and she wanted me to cover her show, and she actually got me up to do a show with her, and it was like an all vinyl, like a mini mix kind of thing, like sort of what you know, Annie Mac and that have done before, these like mini mix sort of sections. And I just had to take a bag of vinyl up there and just bang out a quick like mix and get, like, it was a journey mix, so it went from my like jungle roots from when I first started DJing up to, like, you know, through to garage into dubstep and grime and stuff as well, do you know what I mean? So it was one of them like sets, and that set did really well for me as well.
Awesome, man. Well, I mean, I could literally sit here listening to you talk about this all day. It's so interesting for me to kind of listen through, because the thing for me is I was very much like a full-on punter fan, trying to find as much information as possible during this time period. So, to hear it from kind of the other side, it's awesome to do. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into one of the kind of earlier releases on Wheel and Deal, which we're going to talk about in just a second. This one goes by the name of Kingsland Dub. It's LX1 and SPMC. We're going to drop into this one for about a minute and a half or so, and then we'll get back into the conversation. Keep it locked, everyone. We're live on Cubcam TV and Trickstar Radio as well. N-Type is in the building, and we're having a good time.
some big things I go and trust man for real when I lie.
Right then, friends, we're back inside the building. How are we doing? It is Tuesday morning, and we've got a fantastic, guest. We've got a living legend, in my opinion. I'm sure he won't say it himself, but there we go. Man like N-Type is in the building. We're going to talk Wheel and Deal next. So, obviously, as a label, how long has it been running now?
Oh, mate, it's just over 10 years now.
Amazing.
Just over 10 years, yeah. So, yeah, and it's still going strong, so that's good.
Did you?
Got loads planned at the moment, loads planned, which is great. And I'm building a nice little team now as well. I've done a lot of it on my own for a long time. I mean, some people have come and helped over time. Bluesy, Leia, they were helping at certain key points. And now, and then I took it on for myself for quite a long time. And then now I'm building a nice little crew of people together to really take it on for the next 10 years.
Awesome,
because I think it's growing nicely, and it's at the point now where I need to get some more help to keep it running nice and smooth, and to really evolve the whole thing.
Definitely.
So yeah, I mean, it's my baby, man. I love it, and the releases, the artists. I mean, they're all wicked, and I just want it to keep going strong.
There we go. I mean, again, this is going to be the fan in me coming out and talking with this one. I remember all the way back to that first release. I believe it was Technophobe was the first release.
Technophobe, yeah.
All the way back to that first release. I remember queuing up outside Roundup Records in Brighton to buy it. That's how. I remember that day very, very specifically, and I remember again hearing the tune getting played on the Rinse show and going, right, this is out this weekend. I need to head down to Roundup this weekend. So I ran down there with my pocket money, and that's
what I used to be like with when the record shops were open all around like Croydon and everything.
Yeah.
And London. I used to be like, right, that tune's coming out then. Right, I'm going to get it, and I'd be there, and I'd even get there sometimes a day early. I'd be like, well, I'll buy a load of other stuff. Do you feel to an extent
to a slight extent, I suppose, that's without that kind of element of things, there's a bit of a romance kind of gone from the music side of things?
If I'm honest, I do miss the record shops, man. Like, I spent half my life basically in Apple. It was like a home for us. I mean, for one thing, you go there, and there'd be some. I mean, John was always wicked with us, with me and Walshy. He used to save us, if they got 10 copies of the new Zinc Bingo test press or something, he'd save us a copy under the counter, and me and Walshy used to get there, right, and we'd have to flip a coin to see who took it home. It was all that sort of stuff going on. But John knew that we were there, some weeks we were there 3 times a week, maybe more. And we just wanted every tune. And when it went from being, buying a lot of vinyl to cutting dub plates, it was the same with dub plates. I was going to the record shop, but then I was also getting CDs off of artists, mainly from Apple, because I'd see Scream down there, I'd see Benga, I speak to Loafer, I see Mala and Koki, there'd be... that Benny Hill passed through, and we started sharing CDs. So we were getting all of the vinyl and all the test presses and stuff, but we were also getting the CDs and then going to transition and cutting the dub plates. And if you asked Jason back in the day, I was there. Sometimes I'd just finish work, I'd drive straight because I used to work out in Edenbridge. I was doing I was creative director of I was basically rebranding a company.
Okay.
And I was out there doing that, and then I'd literally finish work, jump in the motor, drive to transition, with a fresh CD, because I used to have what was the thing, the online sharing thing? It was Skype, and there was another one, the MSN. And with MSN, people were sending me beats all day, so I just have a fresh CD of beats. So I just ring Jay, have you got space? Yep, wicked, I'm coming. I'd just drive straight after work to Transition in Forest Hill, cut my dub plates, come back. And then by the time it got to the weekend, when I was doing my Rinse show, it was just, I had loads of fresh dubs. So I was literally cutting some dubs. Sometimes I cut like 10 dubs a week. That it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even thinking about that, the sheer amount of music, and again, it goes back to remember listening to that show. I remember hearing the excitement in your voice, quite specifically when you were like saying, "I've got new ones," and you could almost hear it in the tune when it was the first time it was being played. A lot of the time.
Yeah. Totally, and I've still got all those dub plates. You know, it's breaking my ceilings, mate. Honestly, the way up here is crazy.
There's just a corner which is just literally overlapping, just falling over.
I've got you know, I've got a lot of I don't know how many I've got, but like, I mean, I've got 2 rooms full of dub plates at the moment. Mad. So. Yeah, and plus all the other vinyl as well. But then I've got a load of vinyl in the loft as well. So I don't know how many vinyl in I've actually got in total, but I've got a lot. Do you know what I mean? I love it. I mean, I still buy it now, but it's all online. So yeah, I do miss the record shops. It's a massive part of my life. When all the local record shops close, I mean, now you can still go out of town and find some record shops. But you know, it's
almost the locality of it.
Apple's got,
yeah.
It's just it's that thing. I mean, even before Big Apple, I was going to Wax City for my jungle stuff down in West Croydon. There was Rewind in Surrey Street Market. There was these shops. So I used to know when the distributors were dropping off the beat. So it'd be like, they say, all right, Mark, yeah, so V Distribution is coming in this week, SRD's coming in this week at this day, and at the time, naughty as it was, I was at school, so I'd be like, right, bunk in then, and I'd get them, and I don't promote that as a good thing. It was a bad thing. I was a naughty boy, but like, you know.
Do you regret it though?
I wanted the tunes. I was washing every car in the street to get enough money to get some vinyl. You know what I mean?
It's awesome to hear, man. It really, really is. I mean, kind of shifting the conversation then back towards kind of Wheel and Deal and with it as a label project. A question I did kind of want to ask. With it, obviously, as an aspiring label owner myself, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who lock into this show who are in a similar position in regards to setting up their own projects and pushing things forward. What would you say the main thing you've learned over those 10 years running Wheel and Deal is?
What have I learned? I mean, I'd say it's definitely helped me to sort of understand the music industry a lot more. Like how to promote music, how to release things in a certain way, how to, like grow the actual whole thing. You know what I mean? Because I think also as well, getting help when you need it. Because it's one of those things where, you know, I've done a lot of it on my own for so long. But then, you know, if you're doing too much for yourself, that can be a bad thing as well. So looking at positives and negatives, I'd say knowing when is a good time to get help. And at the moment, what we're looking to do for the future, now's the time. Do you know what I mean? And it's, you know, we've done well, we've done great. And I mean, I've worked hard for it. But now I just want to go even further, you know. It's like, the raves have been great as well. Like, I mean, not just putting out music, but the events that we've done, the Wheel and Deal boat parties in Outlook have been amazing. Out in Croatia, it's a shame we're not there this year due to obviously all the COVID stuff, but that was amazing. You know, like the Wheel and Deal birthday parties we've done have been great. Like the last one was amazing, the 10-year birthday, and just the vibe and the buzz between everyone who's there and who've all been a part of it. It's just amazing.
Awesome. So, I mean, even hearing you talk about it, I can hear the admiration. I can hear the genuine love for what's already happened, and I can also hear a tint of excitement for what's on the way more than anything else.
Definitely. Yeah. There's a lot coming, man. Definitely.
Awesome, man. Well,
a lot more releases, and events. Like, you know, we've been, you know, due to COVID, you know, we've been stalled a lot with events, but there's a lot coming, man. So I'm just hoping that this all kind of, you know, blows over as such, and we can get back in the clubs ASAP.
Definitely, man. I mean, I think what we're going to do with the show, if with this one specifically, is possibly overrun by a few minutes because we've still got a few tunes. We've still got 2 tunes to play, and I want to carry on the conversation.
Mate, I've been waffling, isn't it?
No. It's honestly fine. It's honestly, it's a show that I had a funny feeling would take this interview specifically. I had a funny feeling it would go on a little while longer, which is why I put it at the end, just so we can kind of look through things. I think almost to kind of come full circle with what we were saying about Wheel and Deal with releases. Obviously, the first one, I believe it was yourself and the others on Technophobe, wasn't it? Oh, have we lost him? Oh, what a time for that to happen. Anyway, let's crack on. Let's give him another call back and go through. Oh, on another call. I'm sure we'll get through in a second. Out to everyone locking in right about now. We are going to overrun by about 10-15 minutes or so. There we go. Back inside the building. And we're back. There we go. Good stuff. Sorry, mate, it's all good. We call them the Brecknicles on this show purely because of... there we go. I can't remember who it was who came up with that name.
Brekky in the Cave, isn't it?
Yes. Brecknicles, it kind of works.
For a signal in the cave.
So there we go. Yeah, okay, so what we're going to do is... what I was saying is... I believe it was yourself and the others on Technophobe, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go full circle here and obviously look to another one from the pair of you guys. This one goes by the name of Horror. So what we're going to do is...
Brand Spankers.
There we go.
Dubplate.
It's what I love to hear, man. I love getting these exclusives. It's why I love doing the show more than anything else.
I'm going to load you up, mate.
Oh, thank you. I'm buzzing, sir. I'm buzzing. Right, let's crack on. Let's get listening to this and then we'll be back in just a second. Don't go anywhere. We're live on Trickstar Radio and, of course, Cubcam TV as well. If it's your first time locking in, hit that subscribe button. Do me a favour and like the video.
And you must make a friend of horror. Horror and moral terror are your friends. If they are not, then they are enemies to be feared.
Right then, my friends, we're back inside the building. That one coming from The Others and N-Type with Horror. What a tune that one is. We are going to extend the show by about 15 minutes or so because I want to find out what's coming in the future. So, N-Type, talk to me, sir. What's on the way?
Well, so Horror, the last track you just heard, that is forthcoming on Wheel and Deal. That's going to be the next EP that we do. And it's kind of like a collaboration EP where it's me with The Others, and there's a track from me and Sleeper and a track from me and Lost. So it's, you know, three producers that I've always worked alongside, and you know, like we've been mates for years, but it was like, you know, let's get in the studio and make some stuff. Obviously me and The Others had the first release on Wheel and Deal, and because it's 10 years now, we wanted to come back with another track, and this one's slightly different. Well, it's completely different from Technophobe, really, because it's more minimal, and it's dark. It's very dark, that tune, I think.
Very like overall with dubstep as a sound, then, like, where would you say it's going?
Where would I say it's going? See, now this is the thing, right? Over the years, there's definitely been key sounds as it's come through. So it started off more on the kind of reggae dub sound, I think, garagey reggae dub.
Mm-hmm.
As it come through, it started getting more jump up. My sound, I think, if I was to say what I sound like, I've always been like, I call it dark energy. So it's like it's energetic, it's kind of skippy. I think I got that from my garage and jungle kind of roots. It's got a dark energy about it, but it's energetic. It's not really half step as such, because the half step was a period that came through, and then it went into, like, people called it dungeon. There was this sort of really dark dungeony half step sound, and then it kind of went to America, and then the Americans made the really jump up stuff, the extreme. I call it like extreme dubstep.
Yeah.
It kind of got coined bro step at the time.
Yeah, I remember it happening.
Yeah. When I first heard that, I didn't know what they meant. I was like, what are they saying, bro step? I don't even know what that means. Like, but then I kind of got what they meant in it. It's like, yo, bro.
Yeah, I feel there was a period as well, just where every sort of 140-ish sounding genre, people were just throwing a word in front of the word step, and that was the name of the genre.
Yeah, and it was a joke name for it, really. I think they were taking the piss, really. But oh, sorry, swearing there. But yeah, no, it was one of them things where it had a bit of a really extreme sound. Like, you know, you had like Excision, and then Skrillex and people like that came along, and they had their sound. But I mean, that wasn't really what was going on over here. We were all still doing our own, you know, version of dubstep, which kind of was, for me, was dark energy. So it was dark but skippy, and I've always held on to that over the years. There's been little bits of elements of different things that I've played over the years, but still I think it holds that kind of vibe. And I mean, now I'd say it went sort of back into the more dub reggae sort of sounding stuff over here. I mean, in America as well, like Rhythm's massive in the States, and Europe as well, and they, you know, that comes from the UK. Rhythm is a UK version of dubstep. And you know, Shivers and those guys, they're smashing it. They're doing their thing. I mean, there's elements of that I like as well. But it's more the kind of Cokie-esque and Jakes and that sort of sound that I kind of like the most out of the more, you know, energetic stuff. So I reckon, which way is it going? I don't know. Like, I mean, with the beats that I'm building, I'm not limiting it to one sound as such. I've kind of, like, you know, the horror track there with The Others is more of a minimal sounding track, but then you've got a track with me and Sleeper where, like, I like when I worked with a producer, we're doing a collaboration, I always kind of like to, you know, try something out with them which might not sound what they normally sound like as well.
Yeah, I feel that.
Like the track that I've done with Sleeper, I should have sent you that as well. You know, I'm going to send you that after this interview.
I am buzzing for it, man.
Mate, with that track, it's like it's more. It's sort of tear out a bit, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's on that kind of Cokie-esque kind of vibe. Like it's an energetic, it's a tear out-ish tune. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's one for the dance floor, like proper, but it still has that kind of reggae root to it. You know, it's you can hear that in it. But yeah, that tune is it's different to what I've heard Sleeper doing before. But like that, we did that tune at his studio when I was out in Denver. Like every time I go to Denver, I always go and stay with Alex, and we always try and make some tunes. We've got a whole EP ready. There's about another 7 tracks that we've done together coming out. And at the moment, we're not totally sure whether it's going to be on Will and Dill or it's going to be on Crucial. So one of the two. We've got this EP coming out first, but then there's another one coming, and that has got like a whole variety of sounds on it. Like there's one thing that I've been loving over the last couple of years is doing like a liquid sound.
Yeah.
And me and Chromestar have done quite a few liquid tracks. And when I was with Sleeper in Denver last year, late last year, I was like, let's make a liquid tune. I love liquid dubstep. And he was like, serious, you want to make a liquid tune? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, mate, I used to make liquid drum and bass. And I was like, no way. And I never knew that. So we sat there and made this tune. And, oh, mate, it hasn't even got a name at the minute. But, like, it's a wicked tune. I actually intro with it on the Denver. If anyone listens out there for the podcast and stuff, it's actually on my SoundCloud, but it's at the beginning, the intro of the Black Box digital auditions that we did for the Denver Black Box Club in Colorado. So that's up on my SoundCloud. You can actually listen to it on there, and I think that's the only clip of it actually anywhere online, so you can have a listen there.
Awesome, man. Well, I mean,
it's liquid, and I love liquid. Like, I don't think there's been enough liquid dubstep. There's been sort of like jazzy kind of dubstep, almost liquid, from like the Antisocial Boys. Like, yeah. They've kind of done that kind of really jazzy musical vibe. But this is like liquid. It's more like LTJ Bookham or something, but in dubstep. It's that kind of vibe. So I'm really liking that, and I think that's had such a good reception that I definitely reckon we're going to make some more of that. It's just something that I just like listening to, like when I'm at home.
Of course,
I just bang it on, like bang on some liquid, and it's just so nice on the ear.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's a good morning genre. I've got to say, liquid is very good in the mornings.
Definitely, it's got a positive sound about it. I like that,
awesome.
And it's deep. It touches the soul. I think a lot of that sort of sound. So we just did New Era Dub with me and Chromestar we've got a new label called Chrome and Type Recordings. We just did that. Now we've got another one coming out to follow that called H2O, and I think that's coming out on Chromestar's label Nebula.
Awesome, man. I mean, listening through all this, it just sounds like there's so much in the works. And
there's loads.
The final question I was going to ask is, what's on the way? I mean, there we go. What's on the way?
Yeah. I'm giving you a lot here. I think when you were saying about how's the sound going, it's hard to say because there's so many. I think it's becoming like that when it first came around, when there was loads of different influences. Like someone might put like a hardcore piano break in something, someone might put like I was using Amons in one of my first tunes. I put like a roll in the Amon that I filtered in and out, and it's just, I think now, especially in what I'm doing with my production and the collabs I'm doing with everyone else, is it's pushing the boundaries again. It's putting in loads of influences back into the pot rather than stripping it back to like, this is reggae and dubstep, this is like jump up. I'm trying to sort of merge things a bit again, because I've always sort of been on the boundaries with stuff, the boundary of grime, the boundary of garage, it's like I've always sort of been in between, like. And that's what I'm trying to do with my sound, So you can hear, like, by the sound of the mix down, and that is me or me working with an artist, but it's, pushing the boundaries again and evolving it on forwards, because there's a lot of influences about new sounds like drill and things like that. I kind of like the way they use their bass lines, and, there's a lot of influences out there. So it's a melting pot again.
Awesome, man. I mean, this. I'm going to call time in a second on this, just because I want to make sure we get the podcast up in time. But this has been probably my favourite chat we've had on this show, purely because of the amount of information that's been available. Like just hearing you talk about those earlier days and the future plans in general. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, man.
Nice, man.
So thank you for coming on.
Wicked show, mate. Big up, man.
No worries at all. I mean, what we're going to do is we're going to finish up with one more from that you sent over. This one comes to us from Day Zero. I believe this one goes by the name of Dagger.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So talk to me about this one before we finish up.
Japanese crew.
I was going to say, talk to me about this one before we finish up.
Okay. Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, I didn't hear that bit. Cut out. So basically, this track it's crazy. basically. It's crazy. Like the tune is it's so different from a lot of the other stuff that we put out before. Just even the way that the beats roll, it's just got this weird swagger to it. The sounds are really cool. Like when I first heard this tune, I was like, this is mad. And it sort of brings in a bit of like, you know, a bit of trap in there, a bit of like glitchy kind of I don't know, electro-y stuff. It's mad, like it was, and it's original. And when I first heard it, I thought, I want to see people dance this. I want to see how they dance because it's got a weird swagger. And yeah, no, it's definitely a Percy, man. I remember playing this to Chrome Star, and he was like, "I love this tune.
Awesome.
What is this?"
Awesome.
So, and I mean, yeah.
Oh.
For a little while now, so you can go and grab this one, but.
Oh, what we'll do, we'll finish up. I'll ring him back one more time and we'll do the outro and then we are done. There we go, on another call. Now I should get a ring back any second. One more go, there we go. Oh, they are lively, the gremlins this morning. They are lively.
Yeah.
There we go. Anyway, you were pretty much finishing up on this tune.
Yeah. So basically, it's been out for it's been out for a while now, but it's one of those tunes that just sounds future to me, man. It's someone who's just hasn't tried to fit into a certain style or a certain sound. They've just gone, bang, this is me, and this is what I'm making, and I reckon this is a future sounding track.
Awesome, man. Well, as I said before, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. We are going to finish up the show here and finish up with a couple of things. Obviously, the podcast for this one will be up in about an hour or so after the show finishes. N-Type will stay in contact, obviously, hopefully get some tunes going back and forward. And, yeah, we'll speak soon.
All right, mate. Big up, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
No worries at all, so we'll speak soon, yeah?
Cheers, mate.
Bless. Right then, friends, thank you for locking in this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure. You can see by the smile in my face how much I enjoyed that interview. Massive shouts out to N-Type. Of course, shouts out to Lacey and Freshta as well, making up a very special extended show this morning. And yeah, we're going to finish up with this one. Before we do so, however, I want to run through the final bits. You can see here the socials. If you are following me on socials, you can. If you already are, don't worry about this bit. But if you want to follow me, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and SoundCloud, all of them are at KXVU. You can find me there with all of them. As well as that, if you are locking into the show, as I mentioned, you can lock in via the podcast, which is available via Spotify, Apple Music, and SoundCloud. Literally just log on anywhere there, search Breakfast with Cove, the interview, subscribe, and you will find the shows. They get updated every day. And then Sharp and Digital, of course, the final one of our sponsors for the day. Well, the only sponsor. There you go. They are, of course, the alternative to hiring social media managers. They help out this show a lot in regards to searchability and SEO in general. They are the official sponsors of Brekky In The Cave. Go and check them out if you want to give your project a bit of an extra oomph. And of course, hit that subscribe button, throw a like on the video. And that's it from me. So we'll be back same time tomorrow morning. We've got another fantastic show on the way, and we will see you next time. Peace.
beat.